What's going on, kings and queens? Happy Wednesday, everybody. If you're new here, welcome. I am Wisdom's daughter, and this is my channel, home of the shenanigans. So if you have a sense of humor, then you are definitely in the right place. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel now, because you do have to be a subscriber in order to participate in the live chat. And yeah, we have to talk about this Cardi B trial day 2. So Imani Ellis's plastic surgeon testified today. Imani Ellis is this young lady here on the right. Okay, that was Cardi B's wig on yesterday. I don't know what our girl was thinking, but she got it together because she done switched up the wig. Okay, I think she's wearing a black wig today, blonde wig yesterday. But anyway, so her plastic surgeon testified today. And look here, y'all. I got questions, okay? Because I put it up in the title. I smell BS, okay? We're going to break down this plastic surgeon's testimony because I'm just going to tell y'all right off the bat. This plastic surgeon is adamant that this was a surgery, right? We're going to debunk that theory. He was adamant that it needed to be done in an operating room and all these other things. But when I tell you the math is not math, and this testimony, it's not doing it for me. But let me go ahead and greet those who are first up in the room, and we are going to get right into it, y'all. All right, look here. Leo Lady 251 was first up in the building, said, "Good evening, WD. Happy hump day. Happy hump day to you too, Queen. What's going on?" Sammy Cake is like, "Hello. Listen to me 301 is in the building." June's Poetry said, "Hello, family." And Uncle Willie is ducking his parole officer and the Bunko division of LAPD. Uncle Willie. Now, look here. I thought we talked about this. I thought Uncle Willie was doing good. He had himself a job. Okay. He stopped all that drinking. All right. We can't trust Uncle Willie to go to liquor store no more. Okay. But anyway, he had a job and everything, although, you know, he was complaining about having to put up some shelves and whatnot. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna have to keep Uncle Willie in prayer, okay? Because I thought I'd be with the shenanigans. Uncle Willie, you need your behind whoop. But anyway, Mrs. BB is in the building. Say hello, WD in chat. Nesto Shackle Shuffle Walker Shame is here. Say good evening to all the wisdom ambassadors. What's going on? Queen K Stable is in the building. All right, got a few more of you here. Galatians is here. I see you, Casino Lady. She said, "Hello, everybody." What's going on? All right, y'all, listen. Let's go ahead and get into it. There are a lot of people live tonight, so people will be in and out of the room. If you guys missed the live that I did yesterday, make sure you check out the live from yesterday, because what we did is we listened to the testimony of the alleged victim in the Cardi B case, and homegirl got caught lying more than a dozen times. As a matter of fact, she lied so much, we played a drinking game, okay? And a few of y'all told me that y'all was lit. Okay? Somebody called me drunk, and I was like, you need to go to bed. But anyway, so we did that yesterday, caught her in several different lies. And now we're going to be taking a look and examining the testimony of her plastic surgeon, because like I said, y'all, something ain't right. Something ain't right. We're going to have to do some calculations and some math. What's going on? Be the light is in the building. She said, "Hey, wisdom, happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday to you too, Queen." And I wanna get your honest opinion about this. We did a poll, all right, and some of you or half of you kind of, I'd probably say like most of you kind of felt like the victim may not be telling the full story, but half of you feel like, yeah, Cardi B did some. She might have done some of it, but um, I'm not sure. But what I am sure of is that Cardi B wasn't caught any lies. That's what I'm sure of. And this witness was, right? Why do you have to lie if what you said happened, right? You don't have to lie when it's the truth. So I do have questions. And now I'm questioning this plastic surgeon because many people are talking about a shakedown. And I'm telling you right now, we might be looking at some proof of a for real shakedown. And if that's the case, this surgeon, I would never put my license on the line. I'm just saying it, all money ain't good money. That's all I'm gonna say. And but on that note, before I go any further, let me go ahead and put up the disclaimer. So this is a commentary and reaction channel for entertainment purposes and for your enjoyment. All statements are alleged and should not be interpreted as fact. Comments made in this video and on this channel are based on personal opinions, mostly mine, which may differ from your own, and that's okay. Diversity is what makes us great. All opinions are welcome, but please be respectful. Yours truly, WD. All right. Dion Salt Bay in the building said Cardi B is known for spitting and the N-word. Oh, I don't doubt that she might have cocked it back. Okay. I don't doubt that. I don't even doubt that she said some things because Cardi B actually admitted. She said in court, she was like, yeah, I cursed her out. I called her effing bitch and yada yada yada. I called her fat and this, that, and the third. You know, she was pretty straightforward. But I'm gonna tell you something, and we're not gonna do it tonight because I don't know if we have time. We'll take a look at it tomorrow. We'll look at Cardi B's testimony. If you look at Cardi B's body language, if you look at how she recalled what happened, she's calm, she's laughing, the judge is laughing, everyone's laughing. Because you know, Cardi B, she's got this very she kind of got this like, you know, ghetto professional, ghetto fabulous kind of childish like personality. And she was asked the question like, well, they wanted to know if she understood the definition of an altercation. And she's like, well, he says, well, the lawyer for the plaintiff says, well, are we in a altercation right now? She's like, no, I would say like we're in a debate. It was cute. Anyway, but her body language. But if you look at, oh, girl, look at her face. Like, this happened 7 years ago. I can understand that she was upset at the time. But she had such a nasty demeanor and a nasty attitude. Like, girl, for what? Just tell your story and keep it pushing. Right. And at the end of the day, whatever Cardi B did, she doesn't deserve to be taken advantage of just because she's a celebrity and she has money. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to listen to a short clip and then we're going to go back to the beginning. So we're going to start in the middle or toward the end of this doctor's testimony and we'll go back to the beginning. Reason why is because this is the point in the testimony when we actually see photos. We finally see some photos of this young lady's face. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me make sure that my background music is all the way off. Okay. And it is off. All right. So let's get into, I have it queued up and we're going to go straight to it because this testimony is a bit long and you already know I'm going to be doing some commentary. So let's, I believe this is it. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So this was actually streamed by Long Crime. A lot of content creators, this is the feed that they're tapping into. So we're going to look at a few minutes of this.
When you treat a patient on a lean basis, does that mean, when a patient treats on a lean basis, isn't it true that the lien is created simply for your added protection? Does Miss Imani Ellis owe you in your medical practice $17,500?
Yes.
And no matter what the outcome is of this case, she still owes you that money.
That's correct.
And
so she owes him $17,000. Okay, for those of you who are new to the story or just coming in, 2018, Cardi B was going to a women's health appointment. She was 4 months pregnant at the time, so we're assuming that it was OBGYN. But the security guard got a little starstruck and pulled out her phone allegedly and was recording Cardi B, even though she said that she didn't. But Cardi B felt that she was being recorded because of how she was holding her phone. And they got into a verbal altercation, which this young lady claims turned physical, and that Cardi B scratched her face. She said in her disposition and in her incident report that it was her nose, but later changed it to her face. Then it was her nose and her face. Then it was just her face, her left cheek, and whatnot. This left cheek is important specifically for in context with this doctor's testimony. And so who we're looking at is this young lady's plastic surgeon, because she claimed that she required plastic surgery because of the injuries that she sustained to the left side of her face. Okay. The surgical procedure that she supposedly had is called microneedling. When I tell you, oh, I got to get my phone. When I tell you that I'm going to break this thing all the way down, we are going to break it down to the bones, okay? To the nitty gritty, okay? We're going to crack them bones open and we're going to scrape out the cartilage. That's what we're doing today, all right? So if you're just joining us, welcome. Make sure you hit the like button. So she still owes $17,000. What this surgeon did is decided to give her leniency, meaning that I'm going to do your surgery and I will defer the bill because you have a lawsuit. We can wait and see what the outcome of the lawsuit is going to be. That right there is really, really important, and you're going to understand why in just a little bit, okay?
You've agreed to wait until this case is resolved before pursuing your medical bill?
Yes.
Is that common practice when you treat patients on a lien basis?
Yes.
And medical, isn't it true that all types of different medical providers treat patients on a lien basis?
Objection leading.
Have you seen other types of medical doctors treat patients on a lien basis?
Yes.
And you've seen surgery centers do that?
Yes.
Pain management doctors?
Yes.
Chiropractors?
Yes.
Dentists?
I've seen all types of doctors perform surgeries on a lead. Yes.
If you can go to exhibit number 5, please, in your report. Are you there now?
I am, yes.
Do you see a report from a Dr. Norman for treatment on July 23 of 25?
Yes.
Did you review this report and bill?
I did.
Is this the most recent medical visit that Imani Ellis received to your knowledge?
I'm sorry?
Is this treatment at Dr. Norman's office the most recent medical treatment that you're aware of?
Objection, Your Honor, this is an excluded document
It has not been explained.
and Black's Foundation.
So you're asking him if he knows whether she saw another doctor after this visit?
In reviewing
How do you know that?
in reviewing the medical records and bills, the 85 pages, I want to establish that this is the last medical visit that the plaintiff has received.
How does he know that?
By reviewing medical
This judge is sick of him. He's like, how would he know? Right? How would I know what you do after you get off this live? How would I know? You can tell me anything, but I'm not there. How would I know? Right?
records.
That's-
Isn't it true that after July of 23 of 25, there are no further medical records that you've reviewed?
I don't know.
Did you take photographs of the patient when she first came in on November 4th of 22?
Well, I don't take the photographs, but my staff does.
In reviewing your medical records and bills and reports, did you confirm that Ms. Imani Ellis had photographs taken in your office when she came in on November 4th of 22?
Yes.
And each time she came back, for example, on February 20th of 23 and March 20th of 23, you also took photographs, correct?
Yes.
And because she's a grade 5 as far as the coloration of her skin, the photographs don't do much justice, meaning they don't really show much, correct?
Objection leading. Black's Foundation.
Assisting.
Isn't it true that when you saw Imani Ellis on those 3 occasions, you could see the scar a lot better than in photographs?
Okay, so let me just pause for just one quick second. Do you guys get what they're trying to do here? Do you see what they're trying to do here? They're getting ready to show the photos because we've never, prior to this, we had not seen photos because the young lady, Imani Ellis, claimed that she never took photos because initially she said in her deposition that she never took photos because at the time she was upset and there was a lot going on. But then she later testified that she did take photos, but she doesn't have the phone anymore. So I didn't take photos, but I took photos. So she over here pulling a nester, right? So we're about to see the only photos that actually exist. When you see the photo, I want you to let me know what you see, okay? Because I had on my glasses had glasses, and then my glasses had their grandbaby's glasses on, okay? So glasses on glasses. And because of what the photograph looks like, they're kind of doing a little bit of disclaimer, like, well, when you saw it in person, you could see more than the photograph, right? So pay attention to what they're saying about the photograph before we actually see the photograph.
Actually, if in a detailed photograph, you see it very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember during the deposition, the defense attorney showed me a very detailed picture. You could see everything.
So where's the photo? Where is it? Where's the picture? Where is the photo? The detailed photo.
If you can go to Exhibit 6 in your exhibit book.
Okay.
There's a total of 12 photographs, right?
Yes.
These are the photographs that you took in your medical office?
Well, these are so low resolution copies of the photographs. Yes.
And it's hard to see the scar in these photographs, right?
Well, you can still see it, but you don't see detail.
So these are low resolution photos. Okay, I didn't take them in my office, but these were taken in the medical office. These are low resolution photos, so there's not a whole lot of detail. You can still see it, but there's not a lot of detail. Okay, let's see what her face looks like when she came into the doctor's office.
Is it common practice to take photographs of your patients when they come in before they do procedures?
Yes.
Why is that important?
Well, to document what their current status is, and also to document any improvement. And because memory is fallible, so if you have a photograph, I don't always operate on patients right away. Sometimes.
Your Honor, if I may show the doctor some of these photographs in Exhibit 6 on the Elmo.
I don't know.
Yeah, put on your glasses.
Will counsel stipulate to the photographs?
Which one? Well, why don't we not propose stipulation on the jury? Sorry.
Can you look at the blue exhibit book in front of you?
All right.
Defendant Exhibit 228.
Okay.
Request to publish, Your Honor.
I don't know that he's, I can, do you know?
If you look at this photograph, color, is this a better photograph of Imani Ellis's mark?
Yes.
And this is a photograph that was taken in your office on November 4th of 22 by your office staff, correct?
Yes.
And you maintain your photographs in your office as part of your business records?
Yes.
Okay, they're about to show it.
Your Honor, I'm requesting to show the witness Exhibit 228 on the Elmo so you can confirm details about this photograph. Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm going to use the pen, and if you can tell me where on her face you see the scar.
Counsel, there's a pointer there. We just want him to get down and give you the
Sure.
pointer on the screen.
There's a pointer there behind you, and if you could just show us where the scar is located.
Let's see. So this is a terrible picture. Sort of. Oh, there you go. That's better.
Oh, now it's a terrible picture.
Okay, there's the main scar here. And this entire area here shows differences in the skin, sort of a general area that's very different from the rest of the skin. And there's a little linear mark here, and there's another one over here. So those are the three marks that I was talking about. This is the main scar down the center, and this is another mark to the side. Here's another mark on this side. So those are the scars, and this is the whole area that's affected. So it has a little bit different, the pores are a different size, and they're a little washed out and a little, they've lost some of the normal undulations of skin, which are called bead pegs. But that happens often with scar.
Okay, and if we look at this, this photograph, can you tell that in the photograph, Imani Ellis was wearing some makeup?
It appears she is, yes. Has lipstick, and then it appears she's wearing something.
Okay. What's going on? Glorious Love has entered the chat. She said, is there a picture on the day? Girl, no. Because Miss Imani Ellis initially claimed that she didn't take any photos. You call your mama and your grandmama, and grandmama is a little confused about exactly when she called, what year she called, and all of that, but she noted her grandbaby called her. You called your mama and your grandmama. You didn't take any photos of what? So you pull out your phone to either snap a picture or, record Cardi B, whatever you was trying to do. But you don't take a quick selfie of your face after this woman allegedly spit at you, hurled insults at you, and scratched you on your face with her long fingernails? Because Cardi B has some very, very long fingernails. Let me see if I can get this picture up here. So she claims that she did not take any photos, but then she later claimed that she did take photos, but she just, she can't find them. She doesn't have the phone anymore. She doesn't have access to the photos anymore. This was one of the more than a dozen or so lies that she told. Look at Cardi B's fingernails, okay? Cardi B got some long ass nails. Let's just be clear. Now, they're a little bit short, all right? I love this photo, by the way. But over here, Lord have mercy, okay? She looking like Freddy Krueger. So no, there are no photos of the day. Now, did y'all hear what this man said? He said that she's wearing makeup. Girl, you got acne. Acne? Acne. I think it's pronounced acne. You got acne. That maybe she has a little bit of rosacea. I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be. I guess that's some bronzer. But if you're going to a plastic surgeon, because you need to, who goes to a plastic surgeon wearing all of this damn makeup? Because I don't see anything. Y'all see anything? I don't see a damn thing. And I done put my glasses on, took them off, turned them around. My glasses done had a baby, and I put those on. Listen, Glorious Love just said, child, some people would scratch themselves for 1 million. I'm just saying. But I mean, I'm being real. I don't see anything. I don't see anything in this photo. Okay. This photo was taken in 2023, I believe they said. The incident happened in 2018. Yeah, I just counted on my fingers. Don't judge me. 5 years later. 5 years later? 5 years later, because one plastic surgeon told her that she needed to wait about a year just to see what was going to happen. Now, I don't know how quickly she saw that plastic surgeon, because it sounds like she didn't see any of the plastic surgeons or consult with any of them until at least 5 years after this incident went on and happened. And Galatians 6:7 says she's a liar, period. Glorious Love says, stop the cap. When I go to the dermatologist, they remove makeup before they take pictures. Come on now. That's like you going to do a surgery and the area that they need to cut you have hair. They're going to shave you, whether you want them to or not, whether it's your head or another part of your body. Kid said, not your glasses had a baby and you still don't see the marks. Yes, girl. Okay. Listen, I'm over here like low key with the binoculars and a telescope. I don't see anything. So this is this is why I said I kind of smell BS, but it gets worse. Okay, remember yesterday we had a progression. I kept telling you she's gonna tell another lie and another lie and another lie. But how about she's not the only one that might not be so forthcoming? Something is going on with this doctor. Something is not right. So he knows that we're not going to see anything in these photos. So he's talking about, oh, this low resolution and the photo from the deposition was more clear. Then show us that photo. Why are you showing us a photo where the resolution is not clear? Resolution looks fine. I just don't see anything. All right. Now that we have established that, okay, they knew we wasn't going to see anything. So they was going to talk about it's a poor photo. You ain't slick. That's all I'm saying. Let's now switch gears. And we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to meet this doctor for the first time. We're going to hear about his background, his credentials, what kind of doctor he is. And I need somebody to get a calculator, because we're going to add up some numbers tonight, because some of the things that this man said doesn't make any sense. Okay. I'm not even going to tell you what I think. I'm going to hold off. I want you guys to hear what's going on, and I want you to tell me what you think is really going on with this doctor. So let me, and then I have to run and get my phone, because I looked up some stuff earlier, some information that we're going to need for tonight. Because as I said, we're going to break this down to the bare bones. Am I on the right video? I sure am. Okay, let me share this tab instead. And I will find a point where I will turn off my camera and I will step away and grab my phone real quick.
Good morning, Dr. Malki.
Good morning.
Were you the treating doctor for Imani Ellis, who's sitting to my right here today?
Yes.
And what did you treat her for?
She had a scar on her left cheek.
Understand. Okay, and what is your current occupation?
I'm a plastic and reconstructive surgeon.
Are you board certified?
Yes.
Okay.
For how many years have you been a plastic and reconstructive surgeon?
Since 1995.
It's about 30 years?
Yes.
Okay. And early on in your, I'll strike that. Where did you go to undergraduate school?
To Purdue University for 2 years.
And where did you go to medical school?
At Yale Medical School.
And you did some work at Harvard as well?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I finished undergraduate in 2 years, and then I took a position at Harvard University. It was a graduate position in literature, German and English literature. So that was for 1 year. And then I went off to medical school at Yale.
And you're also a clinical associate professor at UCLA?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yes. So I've been, since 1995, I've been affiliated with UCLA. That means I'm a clinical professor there. So you teach the residents who are learning plastic surgery, and you teach the medical students at UCLA.
Okay. And we asked you to be here as an expert witness, correct?
Yes.
And a treating doctor?
Yes.
Okay. And in cases where you serve as a treating doctor, in cases that are litigated, you then can serve also as an expert witness?
Yes.
And what does an expert witness do exactly?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure at the different designations. There's a treating doctor, an expert, a retained expert, a non-retained expert. So that's way above my pay grade.
Understood. Okay. In this case, were you forced to cancel patients so that you could appear here in court today?
Yes.
Okay. And you left your home at 7:30 a.m. to get here at 8:30?
A little earlier.
Okay. And you anticipate to be here at least till 11 a.m. or 12 noon?
Yes.
Okay. And did you cancel all of your patients for today?
Yes.
Okay. And in order to be here, how much money have you lost in income?
Well,
Irrelevant, thanks.
so I would estimate 20 to 30,000 in the procedures we would have performed, the patients we would have seen and scheduled.
And the reason you did that is because you want to help your patient, correct?
Yes.
And in order to be able to offset some of the loss, you're charging $2,000 an hour to be here as an expert witness?
That's correct.
Okay. Wait a minute. Let's pump the brakes. Sir. So the doctor, the surgeon, okay, says that his estimated profit lost from clients that he would have been seeing today is about between 20 and 30,000. So let's just make it 25K just to make it simple, right? So in order to offset some of that cost, he's charging $2,000 an hour to be an expert witness in this case for the young lady who still owes him 17 grand. Uh, the math ain't kind of mathing. I'm just trying to figure that out. So you want to help this young lady out so bad. It has nothing to do with the fact that she is suing and involved in an active lawsuit against rapper Cardi B. You know what? I'm curious to know what Cardi B's net worth is. Shall we take a look? I think we shall. Okay, what is Cardi B's net worth? Let's see. Okay. Cardi B confirms her net worth is $101 million. Wow. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Making her the second richest female rapper of all time. So this is not really a money grab, right? We're not like trying to tap into some of that $101 million. We just gonna give up 30 grand to go testify for a couple of hours to charge 2,000 an hour on top of the fact that she still owe you 17 grand, whether she wins this lawsuit or not. It's just not making sense to me. Like, what doctor wants to be that helpful for a young lady who had nothing wrong with her face? Did you see anything wrong with her face? Because I didn't. Girl, that ain't nothing some cocoa butter can't cure. Okay? That ain't nothing. Matter of fact, am I going to put it back on the screen? Let me just put it back on the screen for just a second. That's not anything some cocoa butter cannot cure. Okay? Y'all see that right there? Girl, get you some Palmer's cocoa butter right there. Okay? Get you some turmeric facial oil or turmeric soap, and it will help you get rid of all of them little dark spots. Okay, turmeric. Now turmeric can lighten your skin a little bit, so don't go crazy with it. Leo Lady 251, thank you so much for being a member for 8 months. He wasn't subpoenaed. I'm just curious, who would give up that much money for it? Maybe case, but I hear what you're saying, right? Who would give up that much money just to testify in a case, unless he has concerns that if she don't win this case, he ain't gonna get his money. So yeah, that's red flag number one. But let's continue.
And when you serve as an expert witness, you tend to serve as an expert more for the plaintiff, more for the defense, or is there some percentage that you could tell us?
It's roughly 50-50. So I'm retained by defense firms and by plaintiff firms equally.
Okay. Is it your understanding that in this case, the defense chose not to designate an expert? Is that your understanding?
Objection, called for hearsay, lack of foundation.
Do you know of any other plastic surgeon that's rendered any opinion in this case besides
Objection, lack
yourself?
of foundation.
Have you seen any medical reports or any type of documentation from a different plastic surgeon
No.
related to this case?
No.
When you serve as an expert witness, isn't it true that usually there's an opposing expert on the other side who would then argue with your opinion?
Objection, lack of foundation, irrelevant. 372.
Much too long.
Did you review 85 pages of medical records of Imani Ellis prior to testifying today?
Yes.
And if you were to look at your exhibit book that's in front of you, the one on your right,
You mean that big old binder? That ain't a book. That's like a 4-inch binder. Yes, Kia said expert witnesses are always paid though. Right. So meaning he will be paid for his testimony in this case, but Imani owes him 17,000 for listen, when y'all find out exactly what he charged her for, y'all gonna be like, ain't no way. Wait till y'all find out. Y'all gonna be like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Okay. Kia, me and y'all could have did what he did. I'm just no, let me not say that. But it's anyway, we'll get there and you can make your own determination.
Do you see a list of Imani Ellis's medical records and bills?
Yes.
And you reviewed all the records and bills?
Briefly, yes.
Kia said it's hard to trust anybody now, though. That is true. That's a fact. That is a fact. All right, let me shut down some of these windows.
And for your treatment in your office, did you charge Miss Imani Ellis $6,500?
Yes.
Okay. And surgery center, $11,000?
Yes.
Why do you charge these amounts for the treatment that you gave for Imani Ellis?
Okay, now hold on. Sorry, my ADD, I wasn't even paying attention. He charged how much? Because we're supposed to be calculating all this. So far, he lost 25,000 coming here. She still owes him 17,000. He's probably going to make up 4,000 of that with his expert witness. But what? Okay, 25,000 plus the 17,000 that she owes. Okay, minus maybe 4,000. He's still in the hole for about 38,000. This does not make any sense at all.
Okay. And surgery center, $11,000?
Yes.
11,000.
Why do you charge these amounts for the treatment that you gave for Imani Ellis?
Well, her procedures were performed in an operating room. So we have the operating room staff and sterility, and it's done in the JCO, meaning Joint Commission, approved surgery center.
Okay, you heard, and nobody calls it JCO anymore. It's TJC, but whatever. You heard what he said, right? Did you hear what he said about the operating room? Listen to what he says. It's on the screen. Well, her procedures, plural, because she had more than one, were performed in an operating room. I'm going to come back to that. Put a pin right there. Right there. I'm going to come back to it.
So we have the operating room staff and sterility, and it's done in the JCO, meaning Joint Commission, approved surgery center.
He says that the Joint Commission, because nobody calls it JCO anymore, Joint Commission requires that it be done in an approved surgery center. This is what he is saying, right? We're going to fact check that. I'm just saying.
Could you have done this outside of the surgery center?
You could have done it, but it wouldn't have been as sterile.
Good question. I need y'all to pay attention now. Take notes if you need to. What's going on? Sensible Creation Sisters in the building. Everyone gets a piece of the Cardi pie. They trying. They trying. Some people say, Cardi, you know what? You need to just pay these people and get it out the way. But I understand why she's choosing not to, because she feels like this young lady is that this young lady was the aggressor and that she kind of started it. And I'm not going to say that Cardi doesn't think she did anything wrong, but I don't think she feels like she should be sued. And according to Cardi, she didn't scratch this young lady's face. And that's what the whole lawsuit is about. It's not the fact that she might have been spit on or called the B word. It's the fact that she's saying that Cardi B scratched her face, right? But it ain't looking like Cardi B scratched her face. But anyway, you heard what he said, right? Joint Commission requires that it be in a surgical processing center or office or whatever the hell he said, right? Then he's asked, well, did you have to do it in an operating room? Couldn't you have done this, in office, right? He says, well, you could have, but it would not have been as sterile. We're going to fact check all of that. We're going to fact check that because I smell BS. I worked in the healthcare field for 15 years, guys. I know a thing or two and something ain't right. I'm telling y'all something ain't right. Just saying.
And you wouldn't follow that type of practice?
I don't do that. So,
All right. And in your review of the medical records, did you also see that Imani Ellis treated with 2 psychologists?
yes,
You reviewed all those records and bills?
briefly, yes.
If we can just go to Exhibit 9, which is your CV. I just wanted to go over your CV a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna let this play while I go get my phone. I'll be right back.
Your CV is 22 pages long, including your rate sheet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask that Exhibit 9 be admitted into evidence.
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Go ahead. All right, so admitted.
This is the first page of your CV, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and this explains all of your, you have 2 different offices?
I do.
Why do you have 2 offices?
Just one in Beverly Hills and one in Santa Barbara. So, yeah.
Okay. And if you look through your CV, for example, on page 3, professional organizations, are there any that would be important for this case that you feel the jury should know about?
Well, I became board certified in general surgery and trauma surgery before doing my training in plastic surgery. So I then became board certified in plastic and reconstructive surgery. And I've done 2 additional fellowships, one in aesthetic surgery and one in microsurgery. So that's 10 years of residency after 4 years of medical school.
And on page 4, you have hospitals affiliations. Can you tell us your affiliations with these 2 hospitals?
Yes, so I'm currently an attending at UCLA Medical Center. And previously I was an attending at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, but I gave up those privileges and now I'm exclusively at UCLA.
Then on page 5.
So he's very qualified. I'm gonna skip through some of this. He is very well qualified. Okay, the man went to Yale medical school. He did 1 year graduate school English literature. I've never heard of anyone that's gone to graduate school for English literature, so that was interesting. But he did 1 year of that before becoming a surgeon. He teaches and all those things. So he's qualified. Let's move on. They ask him a question like you put on your CV. His circum vitae is 22 pages. Who the hell is reading that? Anyway, he put on there that he's a super doctor, and they wanted to know, well, what is a super doctor? And basically, according to his explanation, he's one of 5 doctors within a certain geographical area that are chosen most often by their peers, and so he has super doctor status, right? So, and he says he's been a super doctor for 15 years and he's very proud of it. He does charity work and all that other kind of stuff. Okay. So in truth, if he was so concerned about this young lady, he could have just said, you know what, listen, I understand you got a situation. I want to help you. Your face is messed up. I'm not even going to charge you. The second she told him that she got a lawsuit with a celebrity, somebody like Cardi B, which he may or may not have known who Cardi B was, but I bet you he know who she is now. Anyway, a lot of education, yada, yada, yada. He's in clinical practice. He's a practicing plastic surgeon and so forth from UCLA. He teaches residency, yada, yada, yada. I'm just trying to get through some of this. Okay, so now that we get past that.
Did she provide a history to you?
Yes.
Did you use the history in your treatment and diagnosis of the patient?
Yes.
And what was the history that she gave you?
Well, she mentioned that she had been the left side of her face had been injured by fingernail scratches.
She mentioned, okay? Imani told the plastic surgeon, oh yeah, somebody scratched me on the side of my face. So you mean to tell me she didn't have a visible, I can't even talk. She didn't have a visible scar that he could see. And I keep pointing to the right side of my face. It was on her left side. Anyway, she didn't have a visible scar that that he could see. She actually had to tell him that that's why she wanted to see him, because she was scratched on her face. Because the way she told it should have been a visible scar. No, just asking.
So that was the basic salient history. And then I looked at her and looked at her wound. And so in order to determine what I need to do to help her out, I had to diagnose her problem. So I wanted to see if there was hypersensitivity in the wound. Hypersensitivity means, for example, if you have a splinter underneath your skin, it may not show much, but you could feel the splinter under your skin because it's hypersensitive. So I noticed that she had a focus of hypersensitivity on her face. Now, when I examine for that, I touch many areas and see if the patient's pain symptoms are always the same. In other words, if they always come from the same area. So that's how I made my diagnosis of her scar, the visible aspects of it and the hypersensitivity aspects of it.
All right, if you can go to Exhibit 4, the gray, I mean the one that you have in your hand,
Okay.
the white one.
All right. To what number? I'm sorry.
4.
Oh, 4.
In your medical evaluation of the patient, you saw her for the first time on November 4th, 2022.
Yes.
Listen to this.
Were you advised by
He saw her for the first time in 2022. Right? 4 years? Right? Saw her for the first time 4 years after the Cardi B incident. Why 4 years later? Just curious.
Imani Ellis or anyone else that Miss Ellis was seen by a different plastic surgeon before you?
Objection calls for hearsay. Black's Foundation.
Assisting.
If you go to Exhibit 4-009, at the bottom, can you read for us what it says in handwriting?
Yes.
Assisting.
Okay. Are you aware that Miss Imani Ellis saw Dr. Scher before you?
So this is what she's suing over, basically. This is what she says is the issue. This is before the doctor did any treatment, okay? This is what she is suing Cardi B for. This is what she says she had to go to a plastic surgeon for, okay? I don't even know what to tell you. I really don't see anything. I mean, it looked like maybe kind of might have been something there or other, but I don't really see much, and I certainly don't see anything that requires plastic surgery. And wait till y'all find out what kind of plastic surgery old girl actually got. So I'm going to fast forward through this. This is what we just looked at when we started the live. The judge is basically telling him, listen, he would not know what doctor she saw prior to coming to him, so stop asking.
No.
Are you aware that Dr. Scher has passed away?
Objection. Black's Foundation calls for speculation.
So the second plastic surgeon that she saw, maybe before she saw this doctor, passed away in 2021. So he's not able to testify, obviously. So
Got treatment. Did she tell you she saw a different doctor, Dr. John Scher?
Objection. Hearsay.
Assisting.
Do you know the Dr. Scher? Do you know him?
No.
Are you aware that Dr. Scher has passed away?
Objection. Black's Foundation calls for speculation.
Overruled.
That's what I've been told. I didn't verify it.
So she saw another plastic surgeon before she saw this doctor who actually did the procedure that he did on her. We're going to get to that in a minute. Let me...
Good signal. Right.
Denied.
For a patient such as Imani Ellis, the kind of injury that she sustained, Is it true that if Imani Ellis had came to you within a couple of months after the incident, that you would advise Imani Ellis to wait 1 to 2 years to determine if this cut would become a scar?
Blackstone,
Is that-
oh, sorry.
Is that the proper course?
Okay.
Assisting.
For a patient like Imani Ellis who sustained a cut, how long should she wait before getting plastic
So
surgery?
counsel, why don't you establish that there are different treatments, what type of cut it was, how deep the cut was, whether it was likely to scar, what he knows about the scar, establish some foundation. before-
I told y'all this judge is sick of Imani's lawyer. I don't know what back alley she got this lawyer from. What's going on? Beauty is her name has entered the chat. She said, wouldn't hypersensitivity be more relevant to a fresh wound? Girl, yes, absolutely. Not something that's 4 years later. I mean, even a year afterwards, if you have a keloids can be painful, but not 4 years later. Come on now, get the hell up out of here with that nonsense. Kia said, oh, she could have gotten anyone to scratch her in 4 years. I'm not saying that she did. Kia said, don't tell me she got a BBL. Wait. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. Y'all funny. You're gonna hear about it in a little while, but this young lady was also in 2 accidents after the incident with Cardi B. So between 2018 and 2025, that's what, 7 years, right? She was in 2 car accidents, and I believe one was in 2023 and the other one might have been in 21 or 22. Okay, so she was in 2 car accidents. So who's to say that she didn't sustain injuries to her face in one of them damn car accidents? Like, come on with the scamming nonsense. Because remember, we did a poll yesterday, and one of the questions that we asked in the poll was, why do you think she chose to sue now? She needed the money. Somebody told her that she should. I forgot what the third reason was, but pretty much y'all all say, yeah, she needed money. All right, let's get past this because the judge is just reprimanding this lawyer who and now they're talking about scars. All right.
False speculation.
Overruled.
No, scars can form quickly sometimes. Sometimes it takes a long time for them to form.
Do you believe it was correct for Imani Ellis to wait before obtaining the medical treatment that she received in your office?
Objection, lack foundation, false speculation.
Assisting.
And the type of medical treatment that you performed, isn't it true that during the pandemic, which started in April of 2022 for at least several months and years, there was limited availability for patients to receive plastic surgery?
That's very true.
And your office was shut down for several months at least?
Well, I perform a lot of reconstructive surgery and emergency surgery, so my office was never shut down.
So his office was never shut down. However, during COVID, elective surgeries were not being allowed. This was an elective surgery. It was not an emergency surgery. It was not a necessary surgery. It wasn't a life-threatening surgery. This was an elective surgery. It was not something she necessarily needed, but something that she wanted. Okay. Meaning that if she didn't get this surgery, there was not going to be an imminent threat to her life.
But if a patient needed to receive the type of treatment like Imani Ellis received, and they contacted you in May of 2020 during the pandemic, you would not be able to work on them, or you probably would tell them to wait, correct?
Objection, compound, false speculation, lacks foundation.
Assisting.
Isn't it true that a scar such as Imani Ellis's, when she came to you in 2022, the scar would basically never have gone away unless you performed some type of medical treatment,
What
correct?
scar?
Objection, leading, false speculation, lacks foundation.
Assisting.
Can you tell us in your, on 4.001 in the HPI, can you read the four lines there, please, from your report?
In the which line, I'm sorry?
It's hearsay, counsel. Why don't you move on?
In when you treated Miss Imani Ellis, did she tell you that she was assaulted and battered by Cardi B?
Objection, hearsay.
Yes.
Did she explain to you that Cardi B placed her long fingernails with sharp objects in her face?
That's what you told me, yes.
Right. So he knew that she had a lawsuit. He knew who she was planning to sue. Okay. And what she was planning to sue for. Just saying. And is it Beauty? Yes. Beauty is her name. Said, I don't consider microneedling to be plastic surgery. I promise you we gonna get there. I done already looked it up. We gonna get there. We're gonna fact check everything this man said. Cause like I said, I smell BS.
Did she state to you that her face was red and hot after the incident?
Yes.
And can you tell us, when you personally examined Imani Ellis, did you see 3 lines on her face on the left side of her cheek?
Objection, reading.
No.
Yes.
What
Where
is
they
the
at?
significance of the 3 lines?
Well, it's typical for a fingernail injury when you have parallel lines going from the top to the bottom. So that's vertically oriented, so up and down rather than horizontally. So typically that's how fingernail injuries manifest.
Is it your expert opinion that Imani Ellis sustained an injury to her left cheek from fingernails?
Objection, reading.
It's a statement.
I'm sorry?
It's a statement.
Oh.
All right, can you tell us, please, how many times you saw Imani Ellis for medical treatment?
I believe 3 total.
Can you just please go through the treatment that you gave her from the beginning to the end?
Yes. So there was an initial examination, and then I performed 2 procedures on her. So those were done in the operating room, and I did what's called medical microneedling, which is a procedure where you place local anesthesia underneath the skin to numb the skin, and then you do deep microneedling at a depth of approximately 2 millimeters. It does cause the patient to bleed, but the bleeding is very small.
Well, you know what? You know what else causes people to bleed when they get needles stuck into them? Tattoos. Anybody got any tats? Let me know in the chat. Those of y'all who in the bushes, let me know if any of y'all are tatted, if y'all got tattoos. All righty. Let's just break down what bro man just said. And to do that, I need to do this. I'm gonna go to the transcript real quick. If it's available, it is. Okay. We're gonna go to the transcript. We're gonna break down what he said. 1945. We're going to 19 minutes 45 seconds. Okay, because I don't like to just give my opinions. I like you to understand why I think the way I think, why I say what I say. He says, the lawyer asked, this is the lawyer for the plaintiff, the victim, can you please go through the treatment that you gave her from beginning to end? So now here's the setup. He says, let me make sure you guys can see this. And I don't know if you can. I may have to make it a little bigger. I'll try. Anyway, so can you please take us through, see if that's any better. No, not really. Hang on. Let me move myself on out of the way. And I totally moved myself in the way. All right. Not sure if you can see this any better, but let's just go through it anyway. All right. That's a little bit better. Okay, great. So tell us what you did, right? So here goes the setup. My son is very good at doing this, right? But before he's going to tell me something I don't want to hear, he got to set it up. So here's the setup. He says there was an initial examination. Excuse me. Then I performed 2 procedures on her. And those both were done in the operating room because that's where you do surgery. And I did what's called medical microneedling, which is a procedure where you place local anesthesia under the skin to numb the skin, and then you do deep microneedling at a depth of approximately 2 millimeters, and it may cause the patient to bleed. Okay, great. So let me just do a search Matter of fact, you know what? I got some pictures on the screen. Maybe I'll just show these pictures on the screen. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. So when I heard him say about the 2 milliliters, I'm going to go ahead and share this tab. When I heard him say about the 2 milliliters, can I make this bigger? Yeah, here we go. So I asked Google AI, how deep do tattoo needles go? That was what I asked, right? That was what I asked Google AI. How deep do tattoo needles go? You can see a picture right here of the tattoo process. There's the needle. It goes into the, well, gotta read it. Okay, so it doesn't just penetrate the epidermis, but it also penetrates the dermis. Okay, a tattoo needle penetrates into the dermis, the second layer of skin, typically at a depth of 1 to 2 millimeters. This depth is crucial because the dermis is stable and holds the ink permanently, unlike the outer epidermis, where the ink would fade quickly. Going too deep can cause ink to spread and create a quote unquote blowout, while not going deep enough will result in the ink falling out. Okay, so when you get tattoos, they go as deep as 2 millimeters, right? Didn't he say that this surgical procedure is 2 millimeters? I'm gonna be going back and forth, so y'all stay with me now. Hang tight, right? You do deep micro needling at a depth of approximately 2 millimeters, which is the same depth that tattoo artists do, right? Tattoo is not surgery. It's not done in an operating room, right? It's not done in an operating room. No, not it's not done in an operating room. It's done in a sterile, semi-sterile environment if you go like to a nice place. Okay, but I'm not done, right? Okay, I downloaded some pictures I didn't mean to, but that's fine. So what even is micro needling, right? What is it anyway? Okay. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen since I'm jumping back and forth. So I looked it up. What is medical micro needling, right? Micro needling, yeah. Medical microneedling is a procedure where fine needles are used to create controlled microscopic punctures in the skin, stimulating the body's natural healing response to produce new collagen and elastin. Performed by a trained medical expert, it is a minimally invasive treatment. A what? Let's say it again. Minimally invasive. It is not invasive. Not only is it not invasive, but it's minimally invasive. Treatment used to improve various skin concerns, including scars, wrinkles, stretch marks, and uneven skin tone by thickening and plumping the skin. Now, her skin tone did look a little bit uneven. I'm just saying, either that or her makeup was uneven. Something was definitely uneven, right? So how does it work, guys? Here's a picture of someone getting it done, okay? So how does it work? Tiny needles penetrate the dermis, the layer of skin where collagen and elastin are produced. These microscopic wounds trick the skin into thinking it's injured, prompting a rapid healing process. The body responds by generating new collagen and elastin fibers, which are essential for skin structure, firmness, and elasticity. Skin remodeling. The new collagen and elastin remodel the skin, leading to a smoother, firmer, and more youthful appearance. Uses and benefits. It addresses atrophic acne scars, stretch marks, and other types of scarring. Minimizes signs of aging, helps decrease the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. It improves skin texture and tone. It even out uneven skin tone and can improve overall complexion. Reduces pore size. A tighter and thicker dermis can lead to the appearance of smaller pores. Shoot, it sounds like I need to get some medical micro needling. I got some pores. Anyway, big pores. All right, so how is it done? A handheld or electrical device with fine needles is used to make multiple micro punctures across the skin, not unlike getting a tattoo without the ink. Numbing. A topical anesthetic is typically applied beforehand to ensure the procedure is comfortable. A topical anesthetic. We're going to talk about what kind of anesthesia he used, okay? Because he said one thing and then he said something different later. Downtime. There's minimal downtime, though some temporary redness, swelling, and or skin flaking may occur. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to the next question that I asked Google. Okay. Because I said, hey, Google, I got a question. I think I spoke to Genesis. That's like Google's AI, right? Is medical microneedling a surgery? No. Medical microneedling is not a surgery. It is a minimally invasive, non-surgical procedure that uses fine needles to create controlled micropunctures in the skin, stimulating the body's natural healing process to produce collagen and elastin, which can improve skin appearance. Why is microneedling not surgery? No, it's not surgical. The procedure doesn't involve large incisions or invasive surgical techniques. There's minimal downtime, little to no downtime, with most people able to return to regular activities within a day. It is described as a non-surgical cosmetic procedure, offering an alternative to more traditional methods like chemical peels or lasers. And then we already talked about the benefits, what type of device they use. And then I asked one more question. What is the difference, Google, between microneedling and medical microneedling? And just so you know, I checked the references as to where this information is coming from, because when you do a Google search, anybody can just throw some stuff up on Google. I make sure that when I'm getting information, I click the link to ensure that it goes back to a medical facility, a medical educational facility, or medical academic center. All right. The main difference between needling and medical microneedling is the needle depth and the setting, where medical microneedling uses longer needles over 0.3 millimeters to penetrate deeper into the dermis for more significant results. It's performed by a medical professional in a doctor's office. Wow, it didn't say that it was necessary for it to be done in the OR. It just said a doctor's office, and is classified by the FDA as a medical device. In contrast, cosmetic microneedling uses shorter needles, less than 0.33 millimeters, stays in the epidermis, offers less dramatic results, and can be done with less sophisticated devices. Okay. Medical microneedling is performed in a doctor's office or under medical supervision by licensed professionals. Why is that important? Because he's going to talk about it. Now that you know what it really is, I want you to compare this to what he said, because I promise you I smell BS, and I'm calling BS. Performed in a doctor's office or under supervision by licensed professionals, right? So it could be a registered nurse, so forth and so forth. All right. It involves deeper penetration, which means a slightly longer recovery time and potential for pinpoint bleeding, which is what he just mentioned. And again, we see the difference. It's not as accurate with the cosmetic procedure, right? So you may get some results, but it's not going to be as accurate. Let me find out that this young lady decided that she wanted to get some cosmetic microneedling because she had an uneven skin tone or because she has some dark spots. Because I don't see anything wrong with her face. I'm just saying. 4 years later, I see nothing at all. Nothing that some cocoa butter would not have cured. Anyway, yeah, let's keep going.
Because the needles are very small. So then we apply various creams to prevent infection. And then we see the patient back in approximately 4 to 6 weeks. So after that.
So they got to see the patient back in 4 to 6 weeks. Make it rain. You said you couldn't see what we were looking at? You couldn't see? Hold on. You couldn't see what we were looking at when I was showing the difference between medical microneedling and the difference. All right. And you guys can Google this. You don't have to take my word for it. You can Google it. The point is, what she had done was no different from getting a tattoo. Besides, there's no ink in terms of exactly what they were doing to her skin. Okay. You don't go to the operating room to get a tattoo. You don't have to go to an operating room to get this procedure done. But this doctor was adamant. Oh, yeah, I didn't see a scar on her face. Exactly. I'm gonna show it one more time. Exactly. I don't see any scarring either. I looked for it. I did. I looked for it. Okay. I see some dark spots. All right. But other than that, I don't know what I'm looking at. I expected to see like some scar going from like, her upper cheekbones all the way down to her lip or something, the way she was talking about it. But anyway, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yep. Guys, make sure you hit the like button as you're coming in. Even if you're not able to stay, I appreciate it. All right. So let's hear what else this surgeon, because now I'm giving him the side eye. Honestly, I'm giving him the side eye. So now he says that let's go back to see what type of anesthesia he said he used. Okay. Because Google said you can use you can use topical anesthesia. I've had a biopsy. I've had a few biopsies just in life in general, just for preventative purposes. And that, if those of you who don't know what a biopsy is, that's when they take a tissue sample. So they actually have to cut you somewhere and take a tissue sample, right? And you can get topical anesthetic for that. They don't always have to give you a needle. It depends on how big of the tissue sample they're taking. But he claims that he gave her local anesthetic under the skin. So he stuck her with a needle underneath the skin to numb the skin. Okay. Even though he could have used a topical anesthetic, which is cheaper, but less expensive, because this girl already made it clear she ain't got no money. Okay. She had lost her job. I don't know how long after she lost this job did she start working as a social worker, making more money than the previous job as a security guard. I don't know, but she did not have the money to pay for this procedure. And it was as if this doctor was doing everything he could to rack up a large bill. You're going to understand why I say that in a minute. All right. So local anesthesia, then he needs to see her in approximately, he needs to see her back in 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. Oh, he says they also apply various creams to prevent infection. Okay.
Period of time she returned, we had noticed some improvement in the hypersensitivity and some improvement in the hyperpigmentation. So I basically performed an identical procedure, also under local anesthesia. And after that, I believe I did not see her again. We may have Zoomed, but I can't recall exactly.
Do you believe that your patient benefited from the medical treatment she received from you?
Yes.
And you're
Key, I'm trying to figure out what scar. I don't see a scar on her face, like at all. It's hard to tell from this picture. It looks like maybe there might have been, something in the middle. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dark spots going on a diagonal. And then if you go in this picture, maybe like I don't know, half an inch to the left and then go up. It looks like there might be something there, but you making it seem like you had to have your whole face reconstructed. Come on now. That cocoa butter Palmer's cocoa butter would have took care of that. And she could have saved a whole bunch of money as well. Anyway. Hold on a second. All right. Let me move this comment out of the way and we'll keep going. Because I want to get to the cross-examine. Because I'm trying to understand I already figured out what he was doing, but I'm still trying to understand his logic.
Familiar with the billing procedures and charges from your office and other medical providers, such as plastic surgeons and surgery centers and the like?
Yes.
Is it part of your practice to review the medical bills for your office and other types of medical providers?
Well, it's a part of my
Discussion compound and hearsay.
Okay.
That's to the one part.
So it's my function as a medical director of a surgery center, which I've been for 25 years, to know the fees that are charged at the various institutions like UCLA or Cedar or in similar institutions in the community.
And when you examined Monty Ellis on November 4th of 2022, you performed an examination You wrote a 4-page report. You reviewed medical records and medical bills. You spoke with the patient for how long approximately?
Well, we maybe spent 45 minutes total with her, but that includes the assistant going in, asking the questions, and then she transcribes it to an iPad, and then I go in the room, I do the examination, I record the results of my examination, and then correct anything on the iPad that I want to add to.
And to write the report of 4 pages, review all the medical records, review all the documents, see the patient, everything. That one day on November 4th of 22, you charged $1,500, is that correct?
That's correct.
And if you were to make that same examination, go through all those steps today, you would actually be charging $2,500, correct?
$2,500 for a 45-minute visit to review some medical records. And what else did he say? He did. He reviewed the medical records. There was an iPad involved, and she put some information in, and then he had to add some information or check it to make sure it's right. Anyway.
You can.
That's correct.
The fee has gone up because of inflation and the cost of medical care.
Just
you can.
Yeah, that's what it costs. So you have to.
All right. And the medical procedures that you did on February 20th of 23 and March 20th of 23, the 2 procedures, each one you charge $2,500. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And
wait. He charged $1,500 for the 45-minute consultation or examination. For $1,500 for the examination, and $2,500 for each procedure. How does that equate to $17,000? Allie needs a back scratcher. Can I get any volunteers? Because my arm is getting tired. That's $6,500, but how do we get to $17,000? Like, help me understand.
the same procedures today, what would you charge?
Well, it would be approximately $6,500. If you notice in my initial report, that's the amount I quoted, but for some reason it was billed at $2,500. So that was an error, but.
So basically today, that same procedure would be $6,500 each. But because of a billing error, he only billed her for $2,500 each. See what happens when you're doing something dirty? Because I swear this doctor is dirty. Yeah, I said it.
It is what it is.
So then, in fact, the $2,500 charge should have been $6,500?
Correct.
Twice.
That's what it costs.
No. How would it be? You said you would charge $6,500 today, meaning that 7 years ago, or it wouldn't have been 7 years ago, sorry, that 3 years ago, whatever, it would not have cost that much. You jumped $1,000 from the examination, $1,500 to $2,500. So how was you charging $6,500 back then, and you still charging $6,500, but you talking about inflation? Man, I need you to get your figures together.
Perform surgery, in a surgery center.
We keep talking about this surgery.
And approximately how long does it take from the time the patient comes into the office, gets prepared for surgery, and is sent home for each of the 2 surgical procedures you did?
Well, approximately 2 to 3 hours.
And the surgery center has to be booked for a certain period of time?
Yes.
And you got to prepare it, do the procedure, clean it, make sure it's good. How long does all that take? How much time do you book the surgery center for Ms. Amani Ellis on those?
Well, the 2 to 3 hours would not include the technicians, the surgical tech preparing the equipment for the cleanup. That was just the 2 or 3 hours would be the time from the time the patient arrives, fills out the paperwork, the consents are given. We again talk about the risks and benefits of the procedure. We put on topical anesthesia. We let that work. We take them to the operating room. We put on, we induce local anesthesia with injections. We do the procedure. We watch her post-operatively to make sure she doesn't have any allergic reactions or trouble with her skin. And then we make sure she's dressed properly, has post-operative instructions, and then she's discharged.
You see how they keep pumping up this surgery stuff because he has to justify the price that he charged. He charged $2,500 until he found out that she had a lawsuit. Okay, that's what I think happened. I think he was like, "Oh wow, we should have charged her more. She got a lawsuit. That means she coming into some money." Because people automatically assume that when you sue a celebrity that you're going to get some money because they always assume that the celebrity is going to settle, right? Well, egg on his face. He did not have to do this in an OR. He could have done this in his office. This man has 2 offices. He could have done it in any one of his offices. Wait till y'all find out. You know what? I want to do a poll. Some of y'all know the answer, but it's okay. Let's do a poll. How long do you think this procedure was? And don't cheat. Okay, don't cheat. Just off the top of your head. I'm gonna do a poll. Okay, because when y'all find out the actual answer, some of y'all gonna fall out your chair. How long do you think the surgery lasted? All right. So how long do you think the surgery lasted? Okay. I'm going to put a couple options on here. 1 hour, 30 minutes. I don't know how many options I can put on here. All right. 15 minutes. Less than. Okay. All right. Y'all already know I'm doing a poll. All right. So how long do you think the surgery lasted? 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, or less than 5 minutes? All right. So I just started the poll. So those of you who did put your answer in the chat, but fill out the poll. Okay. All right. So the poll is up. I'm about to pin it so you can find it. Oh, it should be pinned already. Okay. All righty. Some of y'all already know the answer, but don't spoil it for those who don't. Don't spoil it for those who don't know the answer. We gonna get there, I promise.
And there's obviously different types of skin that you deal with in your practice, correct?
Yes.
There's lighter skin, darker skin, rough skin, soft skin. Can you just tell us a little bit of the difference in procedures that you do to the different types of skin?
Yes. So there's a grading scheme from 1 to 5, and 1 would be a patient with very delicate skin, for example, a redhead, who might have very delicate skin and would not tan at all, it would just burn. So that would be Fitzpatrick 1. And then Fitzpatrick 3 might be Asian patients, Hispanic patients, patients of mixed race, and then up to Fitzpatrick 5, which would be black skin. So depending on the coloration of the skin, that determines what lasers you can use, what procedures you can use in a safe manner.
So what is you saying? Because black skin comes in all different colors, bro. I mean, just look at my child. My child is as light as this man. Black skin comes in all different colors. You can't put all black people as the number 4 or 5. Black people could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, honestly. But anyway, and I love his redhead comment. He's basically trying, what you saying, that only redheads have the whitest of skin that doesn't tan and is highly sensitive? I don't get it. But anyway, I want to, for the sake of time, I want to jump to the cross-examination. Okay. Let me just look at the transcript and see if there's anything notable that we're missing. And then we're going to jump to the cross-examination, because I promise you, that's really what you want to see. You really want to see this cross-examination. Okay, so where are we at? We're at 25:59. And you guys keep completing the poll. I want to know what y'all think. So 29:59. Let me just read what he says. Okay, so so they ask him. Oh, I'm way off. Okay. So he says, okay, is there a difference? He said, for example, if you take photographs of a patient with 5 on the Fitzpatrick scale, if you take photographs of their skin versus someone with the 1, in general, in Black patients, the lesions are less visible just because of the coloration. So basically, you trying to say that we can't see what's going on with this lady's face because she's brown skin? Like, what is that? What you trying to say? Because I scar real bad, real bad. I got so many scars and what, like, it's crazy. I scar really bad. It only take a little scratch. Gigi's nails are super long because she won't let me cut them, and she scratched me the other day. But yeah, I get that from my mom. Me and my mom scarred terribly. All right. So I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to say. But then they asked him, when you examined Imani Ellis for the first time in November, did you, with your own eyes and your equipment, you saw the scars, correct? He said, yes. And they said, well, how many scars did you see? He says, well, I saw one main one, the one I recorded. But I saw other things that were, differences in the skin, differences in the pores. That ain't got nothing to do with Cardi B. They asked you about the damn scars, not about what else she got wrong with her skin. We know that she's got some issues with her skin. And I understand that you guys can't really read this or see this that well. Maybe that's a little better. Okay. They didn't ask you all of that. They asked you about the scars. So he's talking about the differences in her pores. There was a scrape mark. He says, I saw those things as well. But the main thing was that there was one main scar that was the hypersensitive one. And someone said it in the chat earlier. Hypersensitivity is when there's a fresh wound. I mean, I don't think you would have hypersensitivity 4 years later. I don't think so. Not from a scratch. Cardi B didn't open up her face with a razor blade. She didn't cut her with a knife. She scratched her, allegedly. So then he talks about his expert opinion. Is it your expert opinion? And some of this is going to be repeated. That's why I'm reading it. That Imani Ellis sustained injuries to her left cheek from fingernails. And then someone said it's foundational speculation. That was the other lawyer. What is your opinion as to where Imani Ellis obtained the scar on her left cheek? He says, well, it was most likely, and then I don't know. There's a gap. Let's start right there. Let's start right there.
What is your opinion as to where Imani Ellis obtained the scar on her left cheek?
Well, the most likely.
I like that question. They don't like that question.
What was the size of the scar? Did you measure it?
Yes. It was approximately 2 centimeters that I noted. That was the main scar.
Can you tell us approximately how
2 centimeters? 2 centimeters? How much is 2 centimeters? So 2 centimeters is 0.78 inches, really 0.79. So you might as well say it's like 3/4 of an inch. What is the actual size of 2 centimeters? I was trying to see. Okay, a typical pea is approximately 1 centimeter in diameter. So her scar is the size of 2 sweet peas. Okay, not snap peas. I'm talking about the actual little round circular pea, 2 peas. That was the size of this so-called scar that she needed plastic surgery for. Girl, if you don't sit your narrow behind down somewhere, this is unbelievable.
long is 2 centimeters in inches?
Yes, so an inch is 2.5 centimeters, so it's a little less than an inch.
Two centimeters is approximately 1 inch, or look,
2.5.
2.5 centimeters is 1 inch.
Is an unpleasant sensation, and it's often associated with scars.
Why was hypersensitivity important in this case?
Well, hypersensitivity is a very unpleasant sensation, and it's often associated with scars. So My job is not just to make the scar look better, but it is to reduce the hypersensitivity. That's in some respects the most important thing, is to reduce the hypersensitivity in the scar.
And when you examined the scar earlier, you testified that you were of the opinion that the scar came about from from fingernails. Is that correct?
Objection leading, and this could occur as its objection.
What is your expert opinion as to where the scar came from on Imani Ellis's left cheek?
Well, based on the direction of the scars, based on the fact that there were 2 to 3 scars that were parallel, and they were
Wait. 2 to 3 scars. I thought there was only one that was like 2 centimeters. Now there's 3 scars. Okay, so you pulling an Imani with, I said one thing and now I'm saying something different. Okay.
oriented, in other words, up to down, based on the fact that the central scar was the deepest, based on the fact that the central scar started the highest. This is a pattern that is most closely associated with fingernails because the middle finger is longer than the index finger and the ring finger. So when the fingers are drawn down, the middle finger causes the deepest scrape, and the other scars cause a lesser deep scar. And they also begin later than the middle finger, because the middle finger being longest, it grips the skin first. So it's the highest. The central scar is the highest. And the fact that they're parallel is highly suggestive of a fingernail injury.
Is that to a degree of medical certainty?
Yes.
And what does it mean for the jury, if you could explain, what does medical certainty mean when an expert makes that type of
51% or more. It's the most likely explanation. There are other explanations, but this is the most likely explanation.
And in order to formulate your opinion, you reviewed medical records, correct?
Well, I did, but that wasn't as important as the physical.
No, of course, I was going to go through a laundry list of what we did, but why don't you just tell me, what did you do to formulate your expert opinion?
The number one thing I did was examine the patient. That's the number one thing. So I noticed where the scar was. I noticed what symptoms she was having.
Notice he said scar, right? Now he's saying, I noticed where the scar was. So which one is it? Is it one scar? Is it 3 scars? Is it 1 scratch? Is it 3 scratches? Like, which one is it? Because it cannot be both. Okay? We don't see nothing at all, to be honest with you. I don't know what that little thing right there is. I can't tell what it is. You know, it's an old injury. If it's an injury at all, I mean, it could just be a blur with the camera. It could be a light issue. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't see anything that warrants plastic surgery. So, sir, I'm gonna need you to clarify. How many scars does she have? Because you're saying scar, but you just said that she had 3, right? Anyway, I'm not going to the transcript, but we at 31:33. If y'all want to go a few seconds and check the transcript to see what this man said, but we heard him. Or you could just roll this video back a couple seconds if you're on the replay. All right. Anyway, let's keep going. We're going to listen to him a few more minutes, and then we're going to jump to the cross-examination because that was good.
And that alone, sure, the medical records are helpful. You always review them just in case there's something that might be important if you're doing surgery on somebody later. But the physical exam is the most important thing. That tells you what you need to do with the patient.
In how many cases over the last 30 years, and how many patients have you treated for assault and battery type of incident?
Many hundreds.
And is there an emotional component that goes along with this type of injury?
Objection, outside the scope of his designation, Black's Foundation, cultural speculation.
Assistant.
In your medical report under social history, you state post-traumatic stress, anxiety, depression, headaches. Is there any reason why you wrote that?
Well, that's information that the patient gave us. It's not a diagnosis I made, it's the information that the patient gave us.
Thank you for clearing that up. So the patient told him, I'm having PTSD and anxiety and stress and I can't sleep and I'm scared and I don't want to leave my house and all this other kind of stuff that I just added to it. All right. Let's now jump to hold on a second. I was wondering why my screen looks like this, and that's because it's on 110%. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the cross-examination, okay? I've got it. Let me just put it up on the screen.
For evaluation or treatment in 2018.
Hang on one second, guys. 1 second. There we go. Okay.
Did plaintiff come to you for evaluation or treatment in 2018?
No.
The first time you saw plaintiff was not until 4 years later in November 2022.
The voice is very soft, very sorry.
No problem. The first time that you saw the plaintiff was not until 4 years later in November 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the photo that we looked at, trial exhibit 228, that was taken in your office before any treatment. Is that correct?
Yes,
It was taken the first time that you saw Ms. Ellis.
correct.
Could you please open the white binder to exhibit 4? And looking at the first page.
Yes,
Thank you. This is your medical evaluation document, is that correct?
that's correct.
Everything on the first page of this document was reported to you or your staff by Ms. Ellis, is that correct?
Yes,
So for example, you're not diagnosing Ms. Ellis with headaches or depression.
correct.
She probably got headaches and depression from them 2 car accidents she got into after this incident. Come on now.
Okay, and also according to this medical evaluation document, plaintiff told you or your staff that the scar was caused by another individual who placed their long fingernails with sharp objects in her face. Is that correct?
Yes,
Did you ask Ms. Ellis about other possible causes of the scar?
no,
At the time of your evaluation, were you aware that Ms. Ellis had been in a car accident and hit her head in 2021?
Told
I'm
you.
not sure if I knew then. I don't think I knew that.
At the time of your evaluation, did you know what Ms. Ellis was doing for a living after she was terminated from her job as a security guard?
No.
Do you recall answering my questions in your deposition in this case?
Yes,
You were under oath to tell the truth in that deposition, is that correct?
correct.
Do you recall testifying at your deposition that, based on your examination, the most plausible explanation for plaintiff's scar is that a right-handed person struck downward on plaintiff's left cheek with both the index finger and the middle finger.
Objection to state's testimony.
Now they're objecting, but this is kind of important because Cardi B is left-handed, right? They're going to talk about it in a minute. Cardi B is left-handed. Now, the Cardi B's attorney may be twisting his words just a little bit in terms of exactly what he said, but he said in his most likely opinion, what's going on, Superfly? Superfly has entered the chat, y'all. But he said most likely based on his expert opinion that it was a right hand that came down across the left side of this woman's face, right? Because most people, when you scratch, you're gonna scratch at an angle, right? Is how do you scratch somebody like this, right? If Cardi B is left-handed and this woman is facing her, right? It would be kind of weird. Like, how do you? He's gonna demonstrate it. But anyway, so far in the poll, we have a poll going, guys. So make sure you guys participate in the poll. How long do you think this quote unquote surgery lasted? 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, or less than 5 minutes? So far, 35% of you said 15 minutes. So we're going to find out what the real answer is in just a little bit in terms of how long this quote unquote surgery was. And I'm saying the surgery was unnecessary. But in addition, even if he did as a professional, if he deemed it necessary, it wasn't necessary for him to perform it in an operating room. Like, come on, you wasting time and money and resources. This wasn't a large incision. She wasn't under general anesthesia. It was a local anesthetic that he gave her. And I don't want to say any more because I want you guys to hear him talk a little bit about it later.
Yes, roughly. I still believe that to be true.
Sorry. Sorry.
In your previous answer, you testified that was roughly what your testimony was at your deposition. But that was your exact testimony, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have the transcript here. I can't remember exactly what I said.
Could we please look at the deposition transcript from page 76, line 9 to page 77, line 3?
Do I have that anywhere? You know?
It'll appear on the
Ah.
Yeah, I don't have the transcript. Yeah, I produced one.
This one I don't have.
It was.
We tried to get it from their court order, but they didn't get it to us.
I don't see objections in the deposition, so go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In this action, are you offering an opinion as to whether or not the scar that you diagnosed was caused by the defendant in this action?
Well, I can't say it was caused by any one person. If you ask me the most logical explanation, it looks like fingernails to me. Striking in a downward direction. That's the most plausible example, or the most plausible explanation for the position of the start of the scars, for the higher position of the right scar, why it would be by a right-handed person to the patient's left side of their face, which is the right side that we're observing. Starting at the top, they both start at the right level for one being an index finger.
Oh, so now he's saying scars again. Because you see how he keeps going back and forth? It was a scar, then it's scars, then it's 3 scars, then it's 2 scars. How many scars is it?
Your one being the middle finger. The middle finger one is a little deeper and wider, as it would be on a middle finger. And then the index finger continues on down further than the middle finger scratch. So that would be the most plausible explanation for me, given the appearance of the scars and the finding of the scars. That's my opinion.
The only treatment that you provided to Ms. Ellis was 2 sessions of microneedling, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was in 2023?
I have to check about the dates, but I believe so.
Wait for it.
Microneedling involves the use of a device that looks a little bit like an oversized pen. Is that correct?
Well, pens don't look that way. It has a head on it that reciprocates it in it, so it's not really like a pen.
It's not really like a pen. Okay.
It's something that you hold, cylindrically shaped.
Yeah, you hold it in your hand. Yeah.
And during each of those microneedling sessions, you moved that device 5 times across the 2 centimeter area that you're describing as Metallic scar. Is that correct?
Well, I also did areas to the periphery of that as well. So there was as I explained to you in the deposition, there was, and showed on the photograph, there's a larger area of changes of the skin, which I would characterize as scarring. So I did those areas as well. So it wasn't just on the main scar, it was also on the area to the periphery of that scar.
It was not, especially, the microneedling procedure was not done on the plaintiff's entire face, though, is that correct?
No.
That's right. We had a couple negatives there.
Triple.
You said it. Triple negative.
He's like, oh, no. I would think not. She could barely afford what he was doing. So I would hope that he wouldn't do her entire face.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you do it over
Yeah,
there?
thank you. Did you use the microneedling device on the plaintiff's entire face?
No.
And the actual process of moving the microneedling device across the plaintiff's the scar took you no more than 2 or 3 minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's probably a little more, but roughly that.
Wait, what? Bro, what you say? Hold on. Let me just take it back 10 seconds. 20 seconds.
Device across the plaintiff's the scar took you no more than 2 or 3 minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's probably a little more, but roughly that.
So this quote unquote surgery that she supposedly had 3 minutes, maybe 4. That is not a surgery. There is no surgery that takes 3 minutes. Okay, my biopsy took longer than that. And that was done in a hospital, not in the OR, but in a sterile environment. So I'm looking at the poll. All right, 21 of y'all voted. Thank you so much for voting. 24% of you thought that this micro needling took an hour. 29% thought it was 30 minutes. 29% also thought it was 15 minutes. And 19% of you thought it was less than 5 minutes. And understandably so, because the way he's talking, it took him 2 or 3 hours to prep. He got to do this. He got to do that. There was no reason for this doctor to do this micro needling in an operating room other than so he could charge all of this money. Okay. Because he could have done it as an office visit. Ain't no way. And then he's got to monitor her and make sure she doesn't have any allergic reaction and this, that, and the third. Like, come on. Galatians said, they losing this case. Now, mind you, this is the cross-examine. So this is Cardi B's lawyer. Look at this man's face. Sir, that's how I'm looking at you. I'm giving you the stink face. That's how I'm looking at you. Like, really? All that for 3 minutes? And then you're going to spend 2 hours in court testifying for a little measly $4,000. You know what? I can't. So when you wonder why it costs so much, that's why. And he has mentioned the word surgery, anesthesia, all these things that you would do with the typical surgery. And yes, there are same-day surgeries. There are non-invasive surgeries. They have all types of surgeries, but they usually involve a person being cut. This man is board certified. I would never put my certification on the line. I don't know. I don't believe he was subpoenaed, honestly. I think he chose to testify. I would have stayed my ass at home. Okay, because depending on how this case turns out, Cardi B might turn around and sue him and that girl. Okay, just saying. Galatians said it's a losing battle. Okay, this doctor needs to lose his license. I hear you. Make it rain. This is crazy. Oh, you didn't think they were going to call you out about this quote unquote so-called surgery that took you 3 minutes? You can't even wash your hands in the operating room for just 3 minutes, right? I think there's actually a time limit of how long they actually have to wash their hands and sterilize that environment. It takes a couple hours to sterilize the operating room, okay? You can't even use the bathroom in 3 minutes, okay? Can you blow your nose in 3 minutes? I'm just saying. 3 minutes? Really?
Neo Surgery Center is your business. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You're the sole owner?
The sole owner, yes.
And looking back, this is White Binder Exhibit 1. Turn to page 1.
Which binder, blue or white?
White.
Oh, okay. And what are we looking at? I'm sorry.
This is page 1.
I'm sorry?
Page 1, Exhibit 1-001. Do you see that?
Oh, yes, I see that.
Go ahead and clean them glasses. I know you sweating now because now the cat is out the bag. One observation. They asked him a couple of times if he remembers signing a deposition stating that he would testify truthfully under oath. He says he remembered. But when Miss Thing was asked the same question, she don't recall. They're like, well, look at the piece of paper. There's a copy of the deposition. There's your signature. Okay. I see my signature on the paper. Okay. Girl, bye. I don't think Cardi scratched this girl. I'm just going to go ahead and give you my opinion now. I don't think Cardi touched this girl. I do believe Cardi might have spit at her. I don't know if necessarily she spit on her, but Cardi B may have spat. I know she cussed this woman out, but I don't think Cardi B touched her because her attitude. We're not gonna cover the mama's testimony tonight. We're just gonna do the doctor because it's a lot. But what her mom said about her upbringing doesn't match her attitude in this courtroom. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if Cardi B had really put hands on her, I honestly believe this girl probably would have fought Cardi. I don't think for a second. And I don't believe the mama's testimony at all about how this young lady grew up at all. Or the grandmama. Bless grandma's heart. She's just as sweet as can be.
Did you create this document?
No.
Is it correct that the total amount of charges in this case between you and your Neo Surgery Center is $17,500?
Yes.
And I believe you testified earlier that $1,500 of that amount was for your initial evaluation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That leaves a combined total of $16,000 for the 2 microneedling sessions. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's $8,000 per microneedling session.
Well, it was the surgery.
This is why I tell y'all to pull out your calculators, okay? This is why I told you that the math ain't mathing. He billed her for $17,500. She paid $1,500 for the examination, right? He claims that he only billed her $2,500 per, I'm gonna call it treatment. He's calling a procedure because he's trying to justify the shit, but procedure, really it was a session, right? $2,500 a session, although he would have normally billed her $6,500. That still does not add up to the $16,000 remaining balance after the examination. So Cardi's lawyer about to get in his butt cheeks. He said that leaves a combined total of $16,000, right? Let's just
$1,500 of that amount was for your initial evaluation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That leaves a combined total of $16,000 for the 2 microneedling sessions. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's $8,000 per microneedling session.
Well, it was a surgery done in a surgery center with surgery staff. So
it was a what? What you say? It was a what? It was a surgery. I would like to dispute that. Hold on one second. I would very much like to dispute that. But it's gonna take me just a second to dispute that. Allie, Mama is. You know what? I'm gonna get you a back scratcher for Christmas, okay? And I'm gonna have to train you how to use it. You can scratch your own back. Okay. You're gonna have to figure out how to scratch your own. Can you scratch my back? How about that? Can you scratch my back? I'm gonna have to hire somebody to just come and scratch you all day long, because that's all she wants me to do. All day long. All right. Here it is. I got it now. Okay. We'll pull it up in StreamYard. He just claimed it was a surgery. It was a surgery. It was done in a surgical facility. Oh, okay. They're telling me that I got too much stuff up here. Hang on a second. Let me take some of these pictures off. It was a surgery. It was done at a surgical facility, right, with surgical staff. But was that medically necessary to do it? This procedure in a surgical facility with the surgical staff? Or did you just decide that that's what you was gonna do? Because I don't believe that it was actually necessary to perform this procedure, okay? Because according to AI, and this is gonna scan millions of documents simultaneously in seconds across the internet. No, medical microneedling is not a surgery. It is minimally invasive. It's a non-surgical procedure that uses fine needles to create controlled micro punches in the skin, stimulating the body's natural healing process to produce collagen and elastin. So she didn't like how her face looked. And instead of doing Botox, she's going to do medical microneedling. It's not a surgery, so we can go ahead and take that off the table and stop saying that. But your math is still not mathing, though. So you have a discrepancy here. Let's see what the discrepancy is. Because he's about to give a whole laundry list of he had to charge her for this. $1,500 plus $2,500 plus another $2,500 is $6,500. And I believe in her testimony, she said that she owed $5,935, something to that effect. So how do we get from 16,000, really 17,000? How do we get from 17,000 to $6,500? That is a discrepancy of $11,000. But let's just say he charged the $6,500. He's like, look here, you know I didn't charge you the right amount. You still got a $3,000 discrepancy here. Let's see what kind of lies he gonna tell.
It wasn't really a microneedling session. It was a surgery.
I'll move to strike as non-responsive.
No, it was not a surgery. It was a microneedling procedure. Because it says right here that it's a procedure. And then it say over here that it's a non-surgical procedure. It ain't a surgery. where did you cut her open? Because I'm trying to figure out, how do you do a surgery without cutting somebody? Galatians said, I call bullshit. Make It Rain said, this doctor's surgeries are down, so he's trying to make up his loss with Cardi. Where's the records of the surgery? Make It Rain said, this procedure was done in his office and he lying about doing it in a hospital. He lying about something. And they moved to strike his comment, his last comment, talking about it was a surgery. No. You chose to do it, because he even said it is not required. It is not necessary to perform this procedure in an operating room. So if it wasn't necessary, and you know the girl don't got money to begin with, why would you do it in an operating room? I could understand if it was during COVID. I could understand if this woman had issues with her immunity. She has sickle cell. I don't know. She has some other, underlying medical issues going on, but not if she was working as a security guard. You got to be in tip top shape to be a security guard, right? To get licensed. Yeah, they go through their own. It's not as rigorous. It's not as rigorous as police academy, but it's pretty damn close. Okay. There was no reason for him to do it other than he just wanted to bill more. Or it's exactly what Make It Rain said, and he never did it in any kind of surgical facility. He did it in the damn office and tried to bill her more for it anyway. Andrea said, look, I don't understand either. Yeah, because he lying. I'm confused. Like that stuff. He lying.
Please disregard the past response.
Your fee was $8,000. Scratch that. The combined total was $8,000 per microneedling session. Is that correct?
Do you mean just for the microneedling or for the preparation of the patient and the post-operative care of the patient?
Bro, if you don't cut this shit, you got me cussing and everything. If you don't cut it, you don't bill separately, right? So you charged her $8,000 per procedure for 3 minutes. That's roughly about how much he charged? $8,000 divided by 3, carry the 1. He charged her $2,666 per minute. Well, damn. At that rate, that's what he charges for surgeries. Let me see, 2,666 times 60 minutes. I mean, if the surgery was an hour, does that mean he would have billed her for $159,960? I'm just saying, like, something added up, sir. Something. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but Wisdom Starter is calling BS. He charged her $8,000 for each procedure, including setting up the rooms, including the anesthesia. He could have given her topical, but he gave her local, including the other creams he gave her, including sterilizing the environment, including having to pay them salaries of the RN that had to be there, because now, if he did do it in an operating room, now you got all that to worry about. This is some BS. Oh, and the post-operative care. You see how he keeps pushing this whole operative narrative, this operating room narrative? Bro, stop lying. Because you got a lying plaintiff, and now you got a lying witness. Okay? And honestly, I believe her mama and her grandmama lied. Okay? Grandmama, big mama, I love you, but I'm calling you out to be a liar too. They all lying. Everybody lying. Okay? Cardi B says she didn't spit on this girl, but I do believe that Cardi B spit. She may have missed, but then again, honestly, I don't even know if that's true or not. And I'm gonna tell you why. Not because Cardi B doesn't spit. Cardi B don't spit on everybody, but also because the plaintiff, the alleged victim in this case, claimed that somebody was standing in between them when Cardi spit. Really? So somebody standing in between y'all like a sandwich, she spit, but it landed on you and not the person in between. I can't with the nonsense.
I just don't understand your question.
Yes, you do. You understand very well.
Are you required to be a board certified plastic surgeon for microneedling?
What kind of microneedling?
Now, we covered this earlier. The difference between medical and regular microneedling is literally It's a smaller needle in cosmetic micro needling. Like if you go to a spa or an esthetician or nail salon. Well, I don't think you'd be getting micro needling in a nail salon per se. Excuse me, unless it's some real fancy place. But you get what I'm trying to say. The needle in medical micro needling is longer. That's it. That's really the same process, same procedure. It's just they use a longer needle. That's the only difference. And because they use a longer needle and they're going deeper, they're going 2 millimeters. But remember, we also looked up tattoos, right? You guys remember that? We looked up the tattoos. And tattoo artists also go 2 millimeters deep into the dermis when they're doing tattoos. And you don't have to do, tattoos are not done in the operating room. They're done right there in the tattoo shop. So like I said, cut the bull crap.
Microneedling, the type of procedure that you performed in this instance.
Under certain circumstances and under the supervision of a physician, they would be allowed to perform that. But however, they would not be allowed to perform a surgery independently.
But this wasn't a surgery, so stop it. It was not a surgery. This is what I was talking about in the beginning of this video, how he keeps pushing this surgery narrative. Yes, we know an RN, a PA would not be able to perform a surgery, but this was not a surgery. That's like calling Botox a surgery. You get Botox, whatever in your face, your nose, eyeballs, wherever people get Botox, right? That's not a surgery. Cheek fillers, that's not a surgery. Okay. You know, that would be like saying, you know, I got my eyebrows, I got microblading on my eyebrows. That's surgery, you know, cut it out. Like this dude is making my stomach hurt. It's not a surgery. And I'm going to tell you like this, if this is these 2 days, this is only day 2, y'all. Okay. I'm going to cover the rest of day 3, day 2, and with the other testimonies and part of day 3 tomorrow. But anyway, and I got a couple things that just came up on my feed that I'll drop in members. But anyway, this is not a surgery. This is definitely not a surgery. And my thing is, if this is an example of how the rest of this trial is going to go, because they claim that this trial is going to last about 2 weeks, it's not looking good at all for this young lady. She needs to find some witnesses that are willing to tell the damn truth. That's all I'm trying to say.
So I don't want to conflate the two.
Ain't nobody conflating the two but you.
You also testified at your deposition that there's no particular formula that you used to calculate this $16,000 fee.
Oh.
Is that correct?
Well, it's based on my experience as a medical director for 25 years of what the usual and customary fees are for these procedures. So it's not just randomly chosen.
Oh, but it was.
And it's your testimony that the fee you charge is usual and customary in this community? Is that correct?
Yes.
You also testified earlier that the plaintiff was charged for your services on a lien basis. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And by lien basis, do you agree that means that if the plaintiff wins this case and is awarded money, you have a right to collect your fees from the award?
Objection misstates the testimony of the witness.
Overruled.
Well, I don't believe that's what happens. I believe the patient owes the money for the services rendered, regardless of the outcome of the case. So it's not just if the patient wins, it's regardless of the outcome of the case.
Has Ms. Ellis paid you for your services today?
No.
Objection, that's the answer.
Overruled.
She has not paid this man so far for his services to date. Okay. And she had these procedures, because I'm not calling it surgery because it wasn't a surgery. She had these procedures two years ago, hasn't paid him yet. But did you hear that, Miss Ellis? You got to pay this man whether you win this lawsuit or not. All he did was buy you some time. And I would not be surprised if she get hit with interest. Talking about Talking about he trying to help her. If you really wanted to help her, you would have done it for free, or just charged her the $1,500 and left it at that. But she hasn't even paid the $1,500. She hasn't paid anything. So she's suing for $25,000 to cover these medical expenses, but she's also suing for punitive damages in addition to the $25,000. Matter of fact, let me just look it up real quick. What is Imani Ellis suing for? What amount? Let me put what amount. What amount? All right. Oh, this is new. I gotta show you guys this. Do y'all see this? Cardi B says security guard is suing her for a whopping $24 million. Because remember, we talked about this last night, and they had not disclosed the total amount that this young lady was suing for at the time. This biatch is crazy. She's suing me for $24 million. Al-Mansar said, this is Cardi B, because her real name is Belcalis Al-Mansar, said on the witness stand, the stunning statement marked the first time jurors heard a dollar amount in the case. Ellis's lawyer, Ron Rosen John Faza, quickly moved on to another question. We're going to take a look at that tomorrow. He did not respond to an email seeking comment on the amount. Baby, let me open up this article. Ciao. So this was Cardi B's wig today. Okay, this is I'm gonna give this name a wig. I'm going to call this wig Esperanza. So she's wearing Esperanza today. Cardi B says security guard is suing her for $24 million. Beach wear. Cardi B told jurors today that the female security guard suing her for an alleged assault is asking for an eye-watering $24 million in damages. The revelation came the same day that a doctor appeared as the final witness in the 3-day trial and claimed that the guard, Imani Ellis, smacked his receptionist. He said Ellis was out of control and flailing her arms during an epic yelling match with Cardi on the 5th floor of a Beverly Hills medical building on February 24, 2018. So this is a different doctor that they're talking about. This happened today. We're going to talk about this tomorrow, y'all. This is one of the doctors that Imani Ellis did say, and Cardi B did say, came out along with other staff to see what was going on in this hallway. But he's claiming that that the security guard smacked his receptionist. I think she need to sue. I don't know. Wait, as a matter of fact, yeah, we're gonna listen to the receptionist testimony. I have a clip of her testimony. It was relatively short. I think it was like 20 minutes or something like that. So you smacked the receptionist, but you suing Cardi B because she allegedly smacked you and cut your face, or she didn't smack you. She poked her finger in your face and cut you somehow, allegedly, with the rhinestones and the okay. Let me do this for a second. Let me just say this. Let me bring this picture up real quick, because there is a misconception about acrylic nails. Oh, I done took the photos off. Hold on a second. I'll put them back up. So when you get these elaborate nail designs all over your nails, like Cardi B has done bows, she's done diamonds, all type of stuff. I've done that as well. If you want it to last, what they do is they actually take the top coat that they put under the UV light to harden. They will put that over the design after they're done, so that all those beautiful little trinkets and stuff stay in place. Because if they don't do that, the first nick against something, they're gonna fall off, right? So it is very possible that whatever jewelry she claimed that Cardi B had on her fingernails was probably secured under a gloss polish that would have been hardened under UV lights, meaning that it would no longer be sharp. All right. And as I said, not to say that you can't scratch someone with acrylic nails, but it would have to be very close to when you got them done before they naturally get dull on their own. It's not like natural nails where you could really dig into somebody's skin, right? It's not that easy to dig into somebody's skin with acrylic nails. I don't wear them anymore, but I used to not. Now, when she pointed in Cardi's face, did Cardi stick her a little bit? Yeah. But did Cardi draw blood? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But this is crazy. What do y'all think about this? $24 million? For what? $24 million because you had to spend $16,000 because you got an issue with your face and decide you want some microblading? We didn't see nothing wrong with your face, mama. And she's a pretty young lady. Okay. She got a nasty attitude, but she's pretty. Okay. There go Cardi B's long nails. Anyway. Cardi B, you got to move by. I can't see this article. Wow. $24 million. So we're going to hear from this doctor because I'm going to tell you something. Oh, Dr. Finke, that's her doctor. 2 witnesses testified today, and both witnesses said that Imani Ellis was the aggressor. Imani Ellis is the one at fault. And remember, Imani Ellis was fired. She was fired. Why did the company fire her? Now, it's been said that it was because of a HIPAA violation. And the HIPAA violation was what, right? You guys know what HIPAA is, right? There are many types of HIPAA violations. Let me just do this real quick because I didn't think about this yesterday. I'm thinking about it now, right? We talked about the more than 12 lies this young lady told. The biggest lie she told was she said over and over and over again that she did not record Cardi B, right? Cardi B says, no, I know I was being recorded because she took her phone, she had it to her ear, and then suddenly she was doing this, right? She was doing that, okay? She was fired from the security company Ally over a HIPAA violation. A HIPAA violation can occur several ways. It can occur in the form of you revealing a person's medical information, right? Like, for example, if you call the hospital, right? And you're asking about a patient who has I forget what it's called, but it's basically a request where they do not want to be in the patient directory, right? If that is the case, you are not allowed to tell anybody that that patient is there. You are to say, we don't have a patient here by that name, right? You cannot verify. If you tell someone that the patient is there, that could be considered a HIPAA violation. In this case, if she was on the phone and she's like, oh my God, Cardi B is at my job right now, that could be a HIPAA violation. If you share medical information, let's say I'm in the elevator with Galatians, right? And I'm talking about Leo Lady 251. I'm like, yeah, so Leo Lady 251, y'all know she has XYZ, going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's looking bad. And I looked at her medical records and it was this, that, and the third. Even in an elevator, right? With other people in the elevator, that's considered a HIPAA violation, right? If you go into somebody's medical record electronically and you're not a doctor or a nurse and and you have no reason in terms of your job function to be in that medical record, that could be a HIPAA violation, right? But a HIPAA violation can also be taking a photo or a video of a patient. That's a HIPAA violation. And I believe that was the HIPAA violation that she got fired for. Not, it's bad enough that she was on the phone and she's like, oh my God, I just saw Cardi B. But she recorded her. She recorded Cardi B. And I believe that was the HIPAA violation. Do you know that when you go into a hospital, you yourself cannot pull out your phone and film anybody? You cannot film the nurses. You can't even, like, my dad was in the hospital and my mom wanted to take pictures of something and security came over and told her, put that phone away. You cannot take photos in here. Cannot do it. Cannot do it. So let me finish reading the rest of this article because I realize it's so small, y'all probably can't even read it yourselves. Okay, so Dr. Finke told jurors, this is today, that he rushed out of his office to investigate a loud disturbance in the hallway and watched Imani Ellis, the security guard, the alleged victim, allegedly landed the blow. Meaning, well, we'll get there. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of finger pointing, he said. My receptionist was struck, not hard, but on the shoulder. The doctor said he clearly saw a phone in Ellis's hand as he tried to de-escalate the situation. He recorded repeatedly telling Ellis in a loud voice this was not okay. and that she had to stop and do her job. The obstetrician gynecologist said he was a foot away from Ellis, staring her in the face as he wrangled her into the elevator to leave the 5th floor. He did not notice any injuries on her face, he said. Now, she's light skinned, okay? But she ain't that light, but she's light enough. Let me just be clear. Some people would say she's not even light skinned. They would say maybe she's brown skinned. But she's light enough that if there was a mark on her face, it would be pretty visible. If there was a mark on her face, oh my God, Gigi snoring. If there was a mark on her face, it would be pretty visible. And StreamYard is like wigging out, and I can't get this photo up. Anyway, he says that he didn't see a mark on her face. Very interesting. He did not see a mark on her face. Wednesday started with Cardi B taking the witness stand for a second day, recounting more alleged details of her confrontation with Ellis. The rapper, born Belcalis Almanzar, said she was between 3 and 4 months pregnant at the time. She was visiting Dr. Finke's office for a top secret pregnancy checkup. She testified and even asked her personal security guard to wait downstairs because she didn't want him to know what type of doctor she was seeing. So that lets you know right there. It was very important that nobody knew exactly what Cardi B was doing. Okay. She claimed on the witness stand, Cardi B claimed that she was going to get her hoo-ha checked, but it was a little bit more than that. She was 3 to 4 months pregnant. She was probably for a OB visit. Makes sense, right? Cardi B told the jury of 6 women and 6 men that Ellis was holding a phone to her ear and blurted out, "Oh my God, Cardi B is here." As soon as the rapper stepped off the elevator, she alleged that Ellis then stalked her down the hallway and appeared to be recording her with her phone. When Cardi B asked Ellis to stop, a heated but strictly verbal altercation ensued, is what Cardi B testified to, and asked on Wednesday if she had any proof Ellis was recording her. She said that when she accused Ellis of taking a video, the guard responded, "Oh, my bad." She said Ellis was holding her phone in front of her chest at that point with the camera pointing at her. She practically apologized. Cardi B further testified that after the incident, Ellis purportedly posted something online and her fans caught it. The platinum-selling artist said she then responded online to correct the lies, accusing Ellis of trying to get some money with her claims. And the security guard is suing for $24 million. What makes you think you're going to get $24 million? And $24 million for what? $24 million for what? Asked Wednesday if she was disabled in any way during the incident, unable to swing her arms at Ellis, Cardi B gave a one-liner that caused several jurors to chuckle. "At the moment when you're pregnant, I'm very disabled." She said, "At that moment when you're pregnant, I'm very disabled. You want me to tell you the things I can't do?" This is what she was saying. Cardi B had them laughing the entire time. You know, she's so cute. Cardi B's testimony was briefly interrupted Wednesday so that the receptionist could get her account. This was Tiara Malcolm. She recalled rushing out of the doctor's office. This is Dr. Finke's office, who Cardi said she was there to see first, and getting in between the women. So this is the woman who got in between them. Tiara Malcolm said that the office had been expecting Cardi and was closed to other patients at the time, because that's what you do with celebrities. You shut down the facility if that's what they request, and they pay for that. "I saw them in the corner. Cardi B's back to the wall. I just heard a lot of arguing." Malcolm described Cardi B as being kind of cornered. She said the women were cursing, but she never heard Cardi use any racial slurs. "I immediately walked over there and got in between them. She stood facing Ellis with Cardi B behind her." Malcolm says she suffered a scratch on her forehead that was bleeding slightly when she returned to her office. She testified she wasn't exactly sure how she got the scratch, but she recalled seeing Ellis' hands trying to reach over me. So the security guard tried to reach over her. That is a stark contrast to what her mother said about her upbringing. And I'm going to stop right here because I'm going to read this whole article again tomorrow into context. We'll go over, go ahead and book that right there. Done. Bam, bit. Cool. All right. Let's get back to this lying doctor's testimony, and then we gonna wrap up shortly. Because this is crazy. This is crazy. And there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, Cardi did it. You know, she be spitting on people. She probably scratched her because Cardi be fighting. Well, according to the witnesses, this security guard was the aggressor. The security guard was the aggressor. Sure was. And I think a couple of people unsubscribed to me because they didn't like the fact that I was taking up for Cardi, but it's all good. we gonna see. Hold on, you guys, because StreamYard is bugging out. I promise you it's bugging out. Okay, let me go back to what I'm trying to share. Here we go. All right, this is important. He's trying to justify why he charged this woman $16,000 when he said that his fee was only $2,500 per procedure, even though he claimed that he underbilled her. But it really doesn't matter. The fact that he underbilled her. If you billed her already, you can't turn around later and up the bill. So I'm still trying to figure out how we go from 6,500 to 17,000. But anyway,
It's a testimony of the witness.
Well, I don't believe that's what happens. I believe the patient owes the money for the service. So it's not just if the patient wins, it's regardless of the outcome of the case.
Has Ms. Ellis paid you for your services today?
No.
Actually, that's the answer.
If Ms. Ellis had come to your office as a patient and had the exact same procedure done and paid for it then, would you have charged less money than you charged in this case?
Well, there were many aspects.
let's hear the excuses. There were what kind of aspects were there? What kind of aspects were there? Give me a second. I'm trying to close down some of these extra windows I don't need.
Of her presentation that would not be found in a typical cash paying patient. For example, the hypersensitivity of her injury and the nature of her scarring. Those wouldn't be typically found in a cash paying patient.
What? So the lawyer caught it, but I'm going to say it anyway. So you're trying to say that a cash paying patient would not have injuries as severe as what she has? What are you saying? You have a lot of celebrities that don't have health insurance. They pay for everything out of pocket because they got it like that, right? Sound dumb.
So how can I equate the fees between someone who has injuries versus someone who comes in for cosmetic purposes?
She came in for cosmetic purposes.
You can't scratch that. Are you saying that there's no possible hypothetical in which the plaintiff could have come in and presented the same injury and not have been involved in a lawsuit and just paid you cash for your services?
Do you mean pay cash or pay cash 3 years later?
Paid cash.
On the spot?
Yeah.
Yes, they would probably have a discount of approximately 20%.
So in other words, you charge 20% more because this was on a routine basis.
Yes.
You heard him, right? He claims he charged 20% more because he was treating her on a lien basis, meaning he was giving her time to pay. Or was it that he charged 20% more because he knew that she was involved in a lawsuit? You know what I'm saying? Why did Imani Ellis tell this plastic surgeon, hey, I'm involved in a lawsuit against Cardi B because she scratched my face? Why did she have to tell him? Unless her plan was like, look here, I can't pay you, but I'm about to sue Cardi. I'm about to get some money, so I will be able to pay you. And dude is like, oh shit, well, you got a lawsuit with $17,000. That's what it's gonna cost. Like, really, dude? The whole purpose of this conversation right now, because I know I've been going back and forth, is because the Cardi's lawyer is basically alleging that this doctor doesn't have a fee scale. Okay. He doesn't have a specific methodology as to how he charges for certain procedures. Basically, they're saying you're just pulling numbers out of your butt. You know, you're pulling numbers out of your backside, out of your ass, right? And he's saying, well, no, I don't just make up the numbers. I use it based on my expertise. So you charge people differently for the same procedure? Because micro needling is micro needling. He got that same stupid look on his face. He looks like Sonya. What are you talking about?
No further questions. Oh, sorry.
What are you talking about? Galatians, what are you talking about? What you talking about? He hitting us up with the Sonya. What are you talking about? No further questions.
All right. Dr. Mulligan, you testified about the injury being
Dr. Mulligan, I am going to report him to the board.
caused by a right-hand person or left-handed person.
Objection, mischaracterizes the testimony.
Sustained.
Does it, well, strike. Could this injury have been caused by a left-handed person?
Objection, lacks
I
foundation.
withdraw the question. In this case, the defendant is a left-handed person. Does that mean that she cannot have caused this injury?
Objection, lacks foundation, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Sorry.
Counsel asked you whether this injury was caused by a right-handed person. Do you remember the question he asked you?
Yes.
I think he was asking what his testimony was.
Did counsel ask you about your testimony in the deposition that you gave on March 27th of 25?
Yes.
And during that testimony, counsel asked you and showed you a small segment of your deposition where you said that this injury was caused by a right-handed person. Do you remember saying that in your deposition?
I said most likely.
The fact that the person is, well, strike that. For example, I'm left-handed. If I take my right hand and I scratch somebody, is that possible?
Objection, lacks foundation, outside the scope.
Sustained.
When you said right-handed person, did you mean that the injury, in your opinion, as an expert, was caused by the right hand?
Objection,
Over.
No.
What did you mean?
Well, if it's on the left side of the face, the most likely explanation is that it was done by the right hand of the perpetrator, for want of a better word.
And
Just based on the positioning of one person, assuming one person was in front of the other.
if you look at the perpetrator there,
objection, Your Honor.
or I'm sorry, I withdraw that. If you look at the defendant, Cardi B sitting there, she has two hands, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Take a look, doesn't she?
Objection, Your Honor.
Does the defendant have two hands?
Ooh.
You need to wait for the court to rule on the objection. The objection's over.
You can look. Please, Doctor.
Yes, she has 2 hands.
Cardi,
So they were going at it a little bit. The lawyer is like, objection, objection. The judge hadn't even ruled, and the lawyer is just going. This is Imani's lawyer. So she's disrespectful, and she's a liar. The doctor's respectful, but he's a liar. Her lawyer is being real disrespectful in this courtroom and has been spoken to by this judge several times. Galatians said micro needling, according to Google, ranges from $250 to $1,100. Ain't no way this weirdo charging these bogus charges. So I looked it up also myself. Medical micro needling with single sessions, a single session, numero uno, can range from $100 to $700, but can go higher depending on the provider, the device, and the location. Remember, he said this is what he charges for that area, that community, that neighborhood. She probably got this done in Beverly Hills some damn where, right? A full treatment plan, which is what he did, usually involves 2 to 6 sessions, can cost between $600 and $4,200 or more. Prices depend on factors like geographical location, the experience of the provider, the specific treatment device, in addition to other substances like platelet-rich plasma, which I don't know if she received all of that. But, he did this in an operating room, allegedly. And I don't know if she's ever had real surgery before, or if she knows if she really was in an operating room, or was she in a room set up to look like an operating room and she got. He hit her with the open.
I will represent you as left-handed. In your testimony at the deposition, if you were to take that the way that they want you to take that, it would be impossible for a Cardi B to have caused this injury. However, there's no question. The question is this: isn't it true that Cardi B, who's left-handed, could have used her right hand to scratch Imani Ellis on the day of the incident?
Objection, lacks foundation, outside the scope.
Stay on the scope, counsel.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Is that objection sustained?
When you testified that it happened by a right-handed person, did you mean that the person actually writes with their right hand?
He said it was
So the judge is getting into his booty right now. He said, listen, he said it was most likely the explanation was that a right-handed person would have scratched her across the left side of her face, because it would be really weird for somebody to come across that way, right? To bring their arm across someone to reach the other side of their face. So yeah, Cardi B was definitely looking like some Marilyn Monroe. She definitely was. So, he and I don't know where he was going with this. Cardi B is left-handed, right? I bet you old girl didn't know that Cardi B was left-handed when she said that, oh, she struck me across the left side of my face. Maybe you should have said she struck you across the right side of your face, and that would have made more sense, because how does a left-handed person scratch you on the left side of your face? She would have had to reach across her own body, turn her hands like that, and then scratch, versus just coming down. So this is a whole bunch of bull crap right here. But anyway.
Unless the person was standing to the
With the right hand.
Typically, if people are facing each other, it would be the right hand. It's hard to reach across with the left hand unless the person was standing to the side, which may or may not have happened. I don't know.
And in this case, the defendant could have used both of her hands to scratch Imani Ellis if she wanted to. Isn't that true?
Objection.
sustained. He's not a causation expert, I don't think, right?
No. It's,
Okay, so let's stop talking about causation.
sorry.
Imani's lawyer is going to cause her to lose this case. I'm going to read the transcript, because there's about maybe 12 minutes left, but I don't think there's anything in here that's really significant other than what he's talking about right now that I muted.
Patient's face. The fact. When counsel asked you about microneedling, the fact that it takes 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 1 minute, that is the actual time that you're working on the patient's face when you're doing that procedure, correct?
Objection. Yes,
Well, not really. Yes, not really at all, because you can't just walk up to somebody and help stick a needle in their face. You have to prep them. You have to make sure you're working on the right side of the face. You have to make sure your equipment is there. You have to make sure that the person is calm, that they're numb, that they've been numbed by topical agent, then that they've been numbed by a needle with light.
Dude, tattoo artists do the same damn thing. Okay, tattoo artists do the same damn thing. Like, come on, sticking a needle in somebody's face ain't surgery. Okay, because if that's the case, then tattoo artists do surgery. What's going on? 313 Best Side has entered the chat. How are you, Queen? Galatian said, looking bad for the chick. She was able to pay for the doctor. Wait a minute. Looking bad for the chick. She want to be able to pay for the doctor. Oh, she won't. Okay, I got you. She won't be able to pay for the doctor or the lawyer. Whoever, listen, if that lawyer took this case and told her, you know what, you don't got to worry about paying us. When we sue, we will get our fee out of whatever we get from suing. they done effed up real bad. Because this ain't gonna work. This is not going to work. This is not a surgery. Poking needles in a person's face is not surgery. Because if that's the case, then that's what tattoo artists do. They perform surgery in a tattoo shop. All of the stuff he's talking about, keeping the patient calm, checking on them, making sure that they're good, setting up. Tattoo artists do the same thing. Like, bro, cut it out. Cut it out. You decided you could have done this in your office with just you, but he decided he wanted to do the whole shaboing boing in an operating room. And now we even question it if he really did this in an operating room because it wasn't that serious. Who goes through 2-3 hours setting up an OR for 3 minutes? Okay, 3 to 4 minute procedure. You're gonna spend 3 hours setting up an OR for 3 to 4 minutes. When it took you longer to wash your damn hands than it did for you to do this. Cut, you know what? Cut the shit.
Medicaine in it, and the patient is comfortable. They're adequately protected against lumps and bumps on the exam room chair. So you can't just walk up to somebody and cut their face.
Whoa.
You have to
wait. Did you hear what he said? Oh, did you just tell on yourself? Wait a minute. Let me roll it back.
It's comfortable. They're adequately protected against lumps and bumps on the exam room chair.
On the exam room chair. Baby, who was it that said he may not have actually done this in the OR? Make it rain. Make it rain said it. This procedure was done in his office and he's lying about doing it in the hospital. Girl, he said, gotta protect against lumps and bumps on the exam room chair. Now, who the hell do surgery in a chair? Where do they do surgery in a chair? Bro, y'all see what I'm talking about when I say that this is proof of a Cardi B shakedown? Imani's plastic surgeon testifies and I smell BS. This is why. This is like what? We on what, number 5? Because we had more than 12 reasons for Imani. I think we up to number 5 on this dude right here. Okay. 5 or 7. I done lost count. He said on an exam room chair, not make sure they're protected on the operating table. He never said operating table. He said exam chair because that's where he performed this procedure, in the doggone chair and not in an operating room. Oh, you lied.
So you can't just walk up to somebody and cut their face. You have to do all this preparation. That's part of the surgery.
But you didn't cut her face. And surgery involves cutting. He didn't cut her face though. No. One more time. No. You didn't cut her face though. You poked her face with some needles, right? Where did you cut her? That is what I'm trying to figure out. Please tell me where you cut this woman's face. Because Google said that it's not a surgery. Not a surgery at all. It's a non-invasive procedure. It's not a surgery. Okay. Using fine needles. It doesn't say a scalpel. Doesn't say a scalpel. Okay. This doctor is crooked. And I pray that Cardi's lawyers and this judge are paying attention. All right. They may not pick up certain things because they don't work in a medical field. And I hope that they're going to consult with somebody to review this testimony to be like, what do you think about this? all this is preparation. That's part of the surgery. There was no surgery, bro. There was no surgery. Like, cut it out.
And as part of the surgery, after the surgery, to make sure they don't have an allergic reaction or they don't have, welts resulting or a burn injury that is incurred. All those.
You know what? I'm done. This dude said, and then there's surgery after the surgery. How is there surgery after the surgery? I feel like, Sonia, what is you talking about? What you talking about? Surgery after the surgery? He says surgery after the surgery. Where we at? 2237? He says, you got to make sure your equipment is there. You got to make sure the person is calm, that they're numb, that they've been numbed by a topical agent. Oh, so he did use a topical agent. And then they've been numbed by a needle with lidocaine in it. Okay, so the topical agent, which really probably could have been used for this process, okay, because I've had a form of micro needling done on my eyebrows years ago. Okay, it's like getting an eyebrow tattoo. They put topical lidocaine on your skin. You don't need a needle. But what he did is put a numbing agent. So when he stuck that big old lidocaine needle in her face, she wouldn't feel that because that hurts. Lidocaine burns. Okay. It'll light up wherever they stick in you, it'll light you up. Okay. So to make sure that they've been numbed by a needle with lidocaine in it and that the patient is comfortable and they're adequately protected against lumps and bumps on the exam room chair. How you get lumps and bumps sitting in an exam room chair? I'm just wondering. Because you can't really fall out of a chair, but you can fall off an exam table. But there was no table here. There was a chair here. It wasn't surgery and it wasn't in an OR. Because you can't just walk up to somebody and just cut their face. But you ain't cut her face, though. You said you didn't cut her, right? You have to do all this preparation. That's the part of the surgery. And as part of the surgery, after the surgery, to make sure, as part of the surgery, after the surgery, make sure that they don't have an allergic reaction or they don't have. Okay, so apparently we do surgery after the surgery. And a part of that surgery after the surgery is making sure that a person doesn't have allergic reaction. I didn't know making sure someone have an allergic reaction is surgery. I didn't know that. Or that they don't have welts or resulting or burn injury. How do you get a burn injury from a micro needling? Okay, we just gonna skip over that part. All those are part of the surgery. It's not just walking up and cutting someone in the face, which you did not do. Yes, the actual pressing of the button might take 3 minutes, but without the proper preparation or the proper follow-up, it's not a surgery. Thank you for saying it's not a surgery, because God damn it, it's not a surgery. And I wish you would stop saying it is a surgery. It's not a surgery.
The proper preparation or the proper follow-up, it's not a surgery.
Right, because it's not a surgery. Let's keep going. We almost done.
And in this case, when you saw the patient on the 2 times on February 20th, 23 and March 20th of 23, you performed
5 years later, mind you, 5 years later, he performed this surgery. That was not a surgery.
surgery on this patient, correct?
Yes.
This was not a outpatient medical. Was this an outpatient? Well, sorry, I withdraw that. This was an outpatient surgery, correct?
Actually, outside the scope.
Oh,
So a surgery means that you're in an operating room with a certain level of accreditation, and you have a scrum technician, and you have a registered nurse, and you have a doctor. So those are necessary for the procedure to be performed as it is.
Okay. Y'all heard what he said, right? I'm not going to rewind it. I'm just going to go back to, I'm going to read you what he said. Here's the scam of it all. So a surgery means that you are in an operating room. Even if it's just to do a 3-minute procedure with a little pen sticking needles in a person's face, right? Let me pull this picture back up. even if it is for 3 minutes, if it's in an operating room, he can bill it as a surgery because he has a scrum technician. He can bill it as a surgery. He's a plastic surgeon. That doesn't mean everything that he does is going to be a surgery, but because he's a plastic surgeon and he has access to an operating room, right? And he's got the RN there, and he's got the he says scrum technician. I'm assuming he means the surgical tech, right? He can bill it as a surgery. This is what he did to her. This is all he did to her. Took 3 minutes. This is what he did. That's it. So a surgery means that you're in an operating room. Boom, number one. Secondly, with a certain level of accreditation, right? So this space may not be in a hospital, but if you have OR accreditation, boom, it is now an OR. Y'all following me? Right? This was not done in a hospital. It was done in an outpatient facility with a certain level of accreditation. And he had a scrum technician, a surgery tech. Actually, let me just look it up real quick. What is a scrum technician? Let me not assume. What is a scrum technician? In the OR. I have to specify because okay. That's what I thought. If he said scrum, I don't think that's what he meant, because scrum that's IT. So anyway, he means an OR tech. This says scrum technician. I don't believe that's what he actually said. Maybe he said a scrub technician. Anyway, maybe he said a scrub technician. Let's look that up. What is a scrub technician in the OR? Okay, he meant scrub technician. Is a surgical tech, like I said, an allied health professional who works in an operating room preparing the space, instruments, and equipment for surgery. So you have people who work as surgery techs, and that's what they do. That's their specialty, to prepare the room. So if you have an operating room, even if it's not in a hospital, with a certain level of accreditation, you have your surgical tech and a registered nurse, you can bill it as a surgery. Surgeries do not get billed the same way procedures do. And I promise you, this is billing fraud. This doctor may have opened himself up to a whole can of worms. Got him. Facial surgery is usually done in a chair, right? It depends. They don't do nose jobs in a chair, and that is facial surgery, right? I wasn't in a chair when I cut my head open and I had to get stitches. I wasn't in a chair. I was on a stretcher. I wasn't in a chair. But basic, minimally invasive procedures, facial procedures can be done in a chair, not surgeries. You don't do surgery in a chair, mama. You don't do surgery in a chair, not surgery. Surgery involves cutting someone. So although for billing purposes, one more time, for billing purposes, if you have an operating room with a certain level of accreditation, a scrub technician, which is an OR tech basically, and a registered nurse, boom, that's a surgery. We can bill it as a surgery, right? We can bill it as a surgery. Baby. I don't know if her lawyers picked up on this, but I would have tore him a new one.
And that's very different from doing a cosmetic microneedling where the depth is 1/2 of a millimeter, not 2 millimeters. So 1/2 of a millimeter doesn't break the skin. It doesn't draw blood. But when it's 2 millimeters, that's as deep as the microneedling goes. That goes through the dermis and causes blood. So that's very different than a cosmetic microneedling. It's totally different. And it's done in a different setting. So you can't confuse the two. They may.
No, you over here trying to confuse the two because you think somebody's stupid. They're not that different. The only difference is the size of the needle. and they can be done in the same space. That's the only difference. It's the size of the needle. That's it.
Be called microneedling, but they're very different. One is a surgery, one is an outpatient procedure done for cosmetic purposes.
Okay, wait. You heard him, right? He said one is an outpatient, one is cosmetic, and the other one is what?
But they're very different. One is a surgery, one is an outpatient procedure
He says one is a surgery,
done for cosmetic purposes.
one is an outpatient procedure done for cosmetic surgery. Okay. But as we learned earlier today, okay, medical microneedling is not a surgery. Not a surgery. And as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is tomorrow, I'm going to call my cousin, my husband, I'm going to call my cousin and speak to her husband, okay, who is a surgeon. And I'm going to find out what he thinks. I'm not even going to tell him about Cardi, but let me just ask you something. Tell me about this. Would you classify this as a surgery? Okay. That's what I'm going to do. Because he works for a major healthcare system, one of the best in the country.
And for the two, if you can look at your exhibit book number 4 in the white binder.
Yes.
4-005 or 4-006. That's a 2-page document which says operative note.
Yes.
And we go to the one before it. I'll straight. When you wrote the operative note, is that the same type of operative note you would write for other types of surgeries, such as breast augmentation or nose surgeries?
Objection, irrelevant, outside the scope.
And back to the 3-minute question that you were asked earlier. From the 3 minutes, if we were to subtract the 3 minutes out of the whole procedure from the start to finish, how much time elapsed when Imani Ellis came to your office and left? If you understand the question.
That's estimated at 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours?
Yes.
And you were required to use your operating room during those 2 to 3 hours?
Yes, the operating room or the recovery area.
And you used local anesthesia?
Use topical anesthesia first and then local anesthesia.
Okay, and the reason you charge 20% more for patients that are treated on a lean basis is that because of the fact that you're required to wait for payment?
Objection, leading.
Yes, 3 years. You have to wait 3 years.
Okay, and in this case, not only have you had to wait for 3 years, you also have to suffer the consequences of the fact that the bill was billed $4,000 less, according to your earlier testimony, times 2, correct?
Objection, legalized foundation.
Earlier, you testified that your bills of $2,500 should have been billed at $6,500. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's my fault. That's mine.
And
That's
if the procedure is going to be done again, or at this time, if the same procedure was done, it wouldn't be $6,500. It would be $9,500.
Objection, outside the scope.
Remember, we talked about that earlier. He said he would have charged $6,500 today. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You said that back in 2022, 2023, you charged $1,500 for the examination, and today it costs $2,500. So how are you charging the same amount for the procedure? $60. Now he's saying, oh, well, I would charge $9,500 per procedure for some 3 minutes. Dude.
And at this point, Ms. Imani Ellis owes you $17,500 for the 2 surgeries and the office visit that she had with you and all of the paperwork and reports that you've created related to this case?
I believe so, yes.
Thank you.
All right, recross.
Nothing here.
All right, any questions from the jury? You want to write those out?
All right, so I believe that's pretty much where it ends here. So you guys have enough information to come up with your own conclusion, but I know what I think, and I think he should have stayed home. That's what I think. I think he definitely should have stayed at home. He should not have come into this courtroom. All right. I'm just gonna read what's left here, because they were talking about so basically she owes him $7,500, and he says some of these questions overlap, so I'll try to combine them. Do you see any evidence of a scratch on the nose? He said no. Can you tell whether so Dr. Mulliken replies, no, I didn't see any evidence of a scratch on the nose. Why is that relevant? That's relevant because Imani Ellis put in the incident report 2 days after the incident that she was cut on her nose. Okay. So then the lawyer says, can you tell whether the scar that you examined was caused by jewelry? He said it could have been. He said, but the most likely explanation given the trajectory is fingernails, but it could have been jewelry. So then he's asked, can you offer an opinion as the approximate age on the scar on her left cheek? He said it's impossible to know that because after roughly a year, the scar is mature. So it really wouldn't change much. So you can't tell the age of the scar. He says, you used the term medical necessity, or I think it was asked during a question. What is your definition of a medical necessity? So the doctor says, if something is, he said, if the patient is likely to derive a benefit from a procedure, then it's medical. His definition of medically necessary is if a patient were to derive a benefit from it. So if I benefit from it, is medically necessary. Guess what? I could benefit from some bigger boobs. You know what I'm saying? But I'm rocking with C cups. But is it medically necessary for me to have a D or a double D? No. Wow. Wow. Could somebody benefit from a bigger booty? Yeah. But is it medically necessary for them to have a bigger booty? No. Do some squats. How do you determine medical necessity? If the patient is likely to derive a benefit from the procedure, then you could say there is medical necessary if they're likely to derive a benefit from it. You're fired. Matter of fact, you need to lose your license. You need to move to another country and just do surgeries there, because I don't think it's going to work out for you in Beverly Hills. That's a medical necessity if it's likely for somebody to derive a benefit, or did you come up with that definition on Imani Ellis's behalf and for her benefit? Anyway, he says then he's asked, generally, can a scar form without breaking the skin? He says, yes, a scar can form by scrapes or by breaking the skin, either one, but it definitely can occur in superficial scratches. And I concur. You can definitely get a scar just from being scratched without breaking the skin if you scar easy. The court's going to ask its own follow-up questions with regard to that. So can you describe how a scar can, or what is the difference between an abrasion and actually breaking the skin? He says, so basically the skin has the epidermis, which is the recycling layer, and then the dermis, which is a thick layer. Most of the blood supply is in the subdermal plexus, which is below the dermis. That's where the main blood supply is. So the bleeding typically happens most when that dermis is completely breached. So a laceration that went all the way through the epidermis to the dermis and down to the subdermal plexus would cause a lot of bleeding. For example, when we harvest skin graft, for example, in a burn patient, we go through the dermis. We take a skin piece of the dermis and it's a bloodless plane, meaning there's not a lot of bleeding when you go through that superficial dermis. But yet we know that people who donate have have a donor area for burns, that area can scar considerably, even though the dermis is never perforated. So yes, a minimal dermal injury may not bleed, but can produce scarring. I think you identified a scratch and then some additional scratches on the cheek. Is that correct? He says yes. And then he's asked, it is your opinion that all of the scratches came from fingernails? He said, well, that's the most likely scenario given the patient's history. Or is that the most likely scenario because that's what the patient told you happened? Anyway, could it have been a dwarf with sharp toes who jumped up? What? This is what this is what YouTube wrote. He said possibly, but not likely. It most likely could have been fingernails. But there are many other things that would leave 3 linear marks. But just given the patient's history, that's most likely the scenario. He keeps saying, given the patient's history. I think when he says history, he's referring back to this alleged incident. So he's basically saying, because she told me that she was scratched, it was most likely fingernails. Bro, you got to be the worst doctor in history. He says, I'm going to rephrase that question. Is it fair to say that when you agree to treat on a lien, you're deferring payment until the resolution of the pending litigation? He says, yes. So we always defer the patient paying the bill until the case has settled. But it's fair to say that at least according to the terms of that lien, that the patient is responsible regardless of the outcome of litigation. Yes, the patient is responsible for the bill. He says, thank you. It's asked if there are any other follow-up questions. And then he's asked, do you have any evidence that this scar could have been caused by an accident? Any medical record, anything at all? Car accident. And then they objected. He says, I don't have any evidence one way or another. Okay. And then he was dismissed. So that was the end of that. Galatians said, if a regular Jane Doe allegedly done this, he wouldn't have charged this big amount. He sees it's a rich celebrity, so he's trying to get a bag, like we've been saying. And I have to concur with that. Dude is over here trying to get a bag. And that's the problem that I have. Okay. I'm not defending whatever Cardi B's part was in this. If she spit at the woman, on the woman, if she cursed at the woman, any of that. Okay. You got a baby in your stomach. You should know better than that. But what I do have a problem with is 2 problems. Clearly, based on witness testimony, the security guard was the aggressor, okay? Because the receptionist from the doctor's office was not standing facing Cardi B with her back to the security guard. She was facing off with the security guard, okay? So the security guard was the aggressor. Cardi B's back was to the wall. You mean you backed her up against the wall, Imani? Yeah, you lucky she was pregnant, because if not, Cardi would have beat your ass. But anyway, so I have a problem that she was the aggressor, and I do not believe that Cardi did what she's being accused of. This young lady went to therapy because she sued her employer who fired her. She turned around and sued the employer, and as a part of her workers' comp case, had to see a psychiatrist, but she tried to make it seem like she was seeing a psychiatrist because she had PTSD and all this stuff. She's a liar, okay? She's clearly a liar. And clearly this is a money grab. Okay. And this doctor got big eyes. And I think at this point, he probably realizes the jig is up. And if he don't, well, too bad for him. Either way, he going to get his money. Allegedly. But anyway, listen, we are at the 3-hour mark. Took a little bit longer today because we had a lot of footage to cover. So I thank you guys for hanging out with me. If you did not hit that like button on the way in, please make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Be safe, be at peace. All right. Keep your eyes and your ears to these YouTube streets, baby. Subscribe to my channel. Make sure that your notifications are set to all so that you can be the first to know when I go live. I will be live tomorrow night. We're going to continue looking at witness testimony. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I'm going to cover this case going back past Friday just because we already know what it is. But there's some funny things happening. So join me tomorrow night. We're probably going to end up going on about 8 o'clock tomorrow. So stay tuned. All right. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, y'all. I got to get some sleep, y'all. I'm tired. What the hell was I thinking starting at 8:30? Whose idea was that? Was it my idea? I'm just saying.